Hey, this video was originally uploaded December 25th, 2023, and then it was taken down for copyright, and then it was put back up in red mode, very, very red, on January 2nd, and everything was very high-pitched. And then that one was also copyrighted, and then a full version was put on Patreon, and the original version was heavily cut down due to even more copyright. If you're seeing this right now, it means that whatever I did worked, and you can now watch the best and worst modern musical TV episodes fully de-redded and uncensored. That is all. I'm glad they finally fixed the sign. Well, welcome to... It's not like I'm complaining, but this is normally around the time I'd be interrupted. I thought this was supposed to be my ultimate punishment.
That's where you're wrong, kiddo.
Your head's turned around?
Huh?
Like you're not even how can you even be sure what I'm doing? Are you sure you're okay?
Don't come any closer to me.
Dude, your hand just came off.
That's supposed to happen. Anyway, I've got to go now.
Alright, well, I guess I'll start the ceremony without any more distraction.
It is I, Jack Black.
Welcome to the second biannual Maybe Musical Episode Awards. Not only did I always know I wanted to come back to this topic after getting flooded with recommendations on the first one, but also 2023 seemed like the perfect year to update you all. Also, my hands are a little tied at the moment. That's because for whatever reason, nearly everything I talked about in 2021 ceremony had an update of some sort, and it seems like we're in a kind of musical number renaissance. Because what do the two highest domestic box offices this year have in common? A musical number performed by an antagonistic force. Of course, the actual enemy is the oppressive capitalist patriarchy in which we are all thrust to survive in, and the antagonist is just as big of a victim as the protagonist thrust into this new world, and the one pink woman who wants to change it. Yeah, the Mario movie's pretty deep. Of course, they're the two highest domestic box offices as of recording this, because...
But nights at Freddy's, that's where I wanna be.
They could have been surpassed by now. If only Matthew Lillard would have broken into song. Also, I saw The Marvels, and not only did it have an original musical number, but it also played Memory from Cats in its entirety. And people say Marvel is on a downtick. While we're covering this year in movies, since we are talking about what has happened in 2023 thus far, this video also serves as a wrap-up. Last ceremony, the two movies I used as examples for diegetic music were the first Spider-Verse and the first Guardians of the Galaxy, both of which had insane needle drops in their sequels this year. Gwen talking about her plight as the drums get louder and louder, beginning to drown out her monologue, and then I learned after that apparently the theater just mixed it wrong. Guardians of the Galaxy started out with Creep by Radiohead. What a year for that song, huh? Because I do love the Guardians of the Galaxy films to death, but ever since those trailers, and it did have a fantastic Since You've Been Gone trailer this time, every major movie trailer has had to add a classic song to it. Marvel, and by extension Disney, are the most guilty of this because the only things I still remember about Lightyear and Ant-Man 3 are Elton John and David Bowie. What does Renfield have to do with Radiohead? As of recording this, I've also finished the first half of the second season of Invincible. While I think the season is a little unfocused, and I'm looking forward to the episodes, a lot of people are very upset about the hiatus in the middle, whereas there's a bunch of stuff coming out every week. I think I'm gonna be okay. Anyway, that first episode also opened with Radiohead. I gotta make like a bingo card or something. What a year for those guys. I went to the movie theater every week this year, and because of that, you see a lot of trailers for the same thing over and over, like my favorite film, Gran Turismo: based on a true story. That's the full title of the movie. For like 2 months straight, I would sit down and see this trailer that starts out all dark and spooky, and then you get jump scared by a realistic cryptid vampire, not a Dracula. It's meant to be taken very seriously, and then the trailer cuts to black and then transitions into What are we doing? 100 ultra points to anyone who has seen this movie and can prove it exists. Since we're talking about movies and how things have changed, it seems like the perfect time to bring up the rules of this ceremony. First off, what people consider a musical episode depends on the person, but to me it needs to be at least 3 unique songs. And dude, we got so close so many times. 2 years ago, I talked about Total Drama, Clone High, Futurama, Adventure Time, and then 2 years later, the more things change, the more they stay the damn same. But no, Total Drama 2023 did not have a musical number. Bummer, I know. Also, as I'm recording this, people have just been posting season 2 to YouTube, and you would think I would be like, oh, this is illegal. But the only other way to watch it is on Discovery Plus in Italy. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I thought the Modern Show would be a really fun thing where we could all speculate weekly and watch it on Max or something, but most of the people I've talked to don't even know that the show came back. You mean to tell me that you got Mr. Unraveled animated a whole sequence around his musical number, and then gave the princess a song in the same episode, and then you just end it there? We were so close. Could you tell I really wanted to talk about this show and had to shoehorn it in here somewhere?
Winter wonder world, full of pine-scented trees and a fine menagerie we can see.
Futurama was even farther off. I wanted to talk about Futurama in the context of musical numbers for a while because I actually really like all of their numbers. Despite rule number 2 being the musical episode must be normal episode length and not a movie or TV movie, even that I was willing to break the rules to include Bender's Big Score. Oh, I get it, the rules. Because that show also had a lot of good musical TV movies that I can't talk, you get it. But even if I counted the entire movie, the musical numbers only capped out at 2. I know these Futurama nerds can write a good musical episode proper. There's actually 2 other episodes that I watched for this that ended up being too long for normal episode length. If you don't know, it actually hasn't been 2 years since I was last on this stage, as I ran back a short segment for the musical episode of the Nickelodeon show Mr. Meaty. I got a decent amount of comments that another show I talked about, Penguins of Madagascar, also had a musical number in Return of the Revenge of Dr. Blowhole, but that episode was 44 minutes long. That's too long. The nature of being trapped in this never-ending torture chamber is that I don't get to interact with a whole lot of people. Sometimes I forget that not everybody on this earth knows every little niche internet post-ironic layered reference. Like sometimes I forget that Twitter isn't actually real. Anyway, I watched an hour-long Garfield show special, all because of this song.
Nobody likes to be hated by the population till I find I don't mind when they say go away.
They hit the song counter, but you know, it's an hour long. Also, it's not very good. We got like 1 song in the Bitcoin episode, and it was pretty good.
Yes, but we ran What the?
Fiona and Cake is an interesting example of what I like to call a musical show. While it doesn't have a proper musical episode, each individual episode does have its own original song. That's not actually true. I think it's every other episode. Focus on original. 2 years ago, my honorable mentions were The Ghost of Molly McGee and the Animaniacs reboot. And would you believe me if I told you that nothing has changed yet again? Well, that's not entirely true. I do want to talk about both these shows though, because despite having an attachment to Futurama and knowing the potential of Adventure Time, I mean, some of the songs featured in Fiona and Cake were written by Rebecca Sugar. Ooh boy, who would have thunk it? But The Ghost and Molly McGee has some of my favorite musical numbers in any animated show, and yet we still barely missed the goalpost. Funnily enough, the episode that got the closest was the Hanukkah episode, which I thought would have been a nice thing to feature in what is kind of an overbearing Christmas clusterfuck. It'd be cool to include.
My family celebrates Hanukkah, so I have nothing to worry about.
Oh, yes you do, Libby. I got you covered. I have a haunted dreidel. I made it out of bones.
Because the cast gives it their all every single time. From an editing standpoint, I shouldn't put 2 clips back to back with only 1 line separating them. That being said,
As the love that I feel for deep fried
and you know, from my 2 favorite cartoons of all time that I love, Dana Snyder. Fishhooks isn't that bad either. I really do love the show, and I do still think it's possible we could get our full proper Ghost and Molly McGee musical episode, as there's only a handful left before I think the show ends. They haven't really specified that, but the crew kind of makes it seem like the show is ending. I think the final episode airs in January, so if that is not a musical episode, just know that I'm heartbroken out there somewhere. The creators still have the chance to do the funniest thing ever. So just a quick update from when we last checked in 2021. I got really into Disney XD and fell in love with Amphibia, The Owl House, Molly McGee, and now Big City Greens is still good. Worth noting that Amphibia has a whole Battle of the Bands episode, and don't capitalize on this concept to form a proper musical. Darcy also sings in the Chibi Adventure Show, but I can't imagine anyone else knows that. Just know that out of all the Disney TVA songs created over the last 5 years or so, my most listened to is Sasha's theme song Takeover, but that's not even in an actual episode. Really, all the theme song takeovers are great. Molly McGee gets one under its belt as well. Speaking of Disney cartoons, since last ceremony, we did get a couple new musical shows from Disney in Moon Girl and Hamster and Gretel. Sort of. I just talked about this earlier, but last ceremony I used 2 Marvel properties as examples of diegetic music. Peter Quill and Miles Morales both put on their headphones and listen to music while they're doing their hero shit. Similarly, the titular Moon Girl can only really fight the bad guy when she's listening to music. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur has so much goddamn style. I'm not one of those people who believes that every modern cartoon is the Cal art style, but I'd be lying if I didn't notice a lot of artistic similarities. But Moon Girl looks unique, both with the backgrounds and the characters. It has little lo-fi bumpers in between commercial breaks, which is probably more anime inspired than anything. I was watching this show with my friend, and a character showed up on a motorcycle. So jokingly I said, "Oh boy, I can't wait to see the funny Akira reference." And then lo and behold, that bike was sliding. It's not my favorite show. I didn't really find it compelling until the final stretch of episodes, and even then it's not really funny enough to make up for that, but it's a little black girl superhero living in the city. I think it's cool that that cartoon exists. I probably would have liked it if it did feature a new original song every episode, but like Peter and Miles, Lunella listens to music that exists in her universe. Because of that, most episodes feature licensed music instead of original songs.
Ain't nobody sicker in my Fisker room. Ain't nobody. Fiskers don't make noise when they start up, just so you know.
See guys, Donald did make it into the video. You brought him back for Fiona and Cake, and you didn't give him a song. It is really funny that out of everything I talked about last time, Community is one of the few that hasn't gotten any new content. We got a new Always Sunny season this year. I haven't finished it. Bros, I don't think that movie's ever coming out, actually. Gonna use this opportunity, since I'm checking in with all the things in 2021, that I watched all of Crapopolis, and it's fine. It's fine. I just wish it didn't look like that. Also, I'm glad it's no longer the first ever animated TV series curated on the blockchain. Legitimately, what does that mean? It's got a character who gives speeches and has mommy issues. You've done it again, Dan Harmon, my hero. Also, wait a minute, back to Moon Girl. If this show is set in the MCU, because Captain America does show up in it, does Gambino also exist in this universe? Are they 2 separate people, like in real life? I'm using this opportunity now to add a third rule that the songs in an episode must be original songs to be recognized as a musical episode. I also watched all of Muppets Mayhem for some reason. I put this bit in here. I wrote it a month ago because the joke is, oh, I'm the only one who watched Muppets Mayhem. And then a little bit ago, as I'm filming this, it was announced that it was canceled. And all of a sudden, hundreds of people came out of the woodwork saying, why would they cancel this show? I don't know, man. Maybe because I'm the only one who watched it. And while each episode did have a song, they were all covers of already existing musical pieces. As much as Moon Girl wasn't my favorite, I didn't want to shit on it because I recognized the quality of the product. But Hamster and Gretel? Nope, I don't feel bad about this at all. I do feel a little bad. I promise I'm not trying to be a dick or like start a witch hunt. I want you weirdos to be on your best behavior. Don't just repeat what I say and go after people on the internet just because I say something. At the end of the day, I talk about cartoons for fun because I love cartoons. I never wish any ill will on anyone, but I gave the show a chance. I got a handful of episodes in when something felt really off, like the entire time. When you watch so many cartoons, you get so used to a level of quality that anything below it seems it feels uncanny. I eventually pinpointed that everyone in the show is doing a really good job. Even Joey King, Thomas Sanders, and Liza Koshy. But for whatever reason, maybe not the main character, but the titular character of the show, Gretel, sounded like someone who was unfamiliar with voice acting. So then I looked it up, and again, I want to preface, I don't want to be a dick. All of these criticisms are just in jest, it's fun, giving my opinions on a cartoon, but I don't want to lie. I want to be earnest. The thing about getting to a certain level is that people who talk about cartoons kind of get lumped in with people who make them. And at a certain point, you're no longer punching up and you're just punching to the side of someone who worked on this cartoon. It's like, oh, anyway, I looked it up and found out that the person who voices Gretel in the show, it turns out, just so happens to be the creator of the show's child. What a coincidence. And I'm gonna live with you. I don't even hate Nepo babies. I think anything Jack Wade touches is gold. I will say, however, that their performance did ruin my enjoyment of the show, or at least lower it. Granted, I don't think it would have been made had one of the Phineas and Ferb guys not wanted to spend time with his child. This is another one of those projects. I love Milo's Murphy, and I talked about Phineas last ceremony, so my expectations were kind of high, and it was just all a huge letdown. I don't want to focus on it too much. I don't want to be a dick, but it's impossible to notice and completely took me out of it, and I couldn't unthink it as soon as I learned that information. And it's not like I knew that ahead of time and thus changed my opinion before I watched the show. I instantly clocked that something was wrong. And I don't think it's even their fault. I think they were truly thrust into this part, and they may have preferred someone else to voice the character, but if you go to their IMDb, you see that their only previous voice credit is like Fireside Girl number 5. Molly McGee has this really good episode about how when her Thai relatives come to visit, she doesn't feel like she knows enough or celebrates her culture enough. She's a mixed kid who struggles with her identity, feeling like she doesn't fit in with everyone else or her Thai relatives. It's a very common problem among families of multiple ethnicities, and the episode represents the culture without ever feeling like it's becoming cartoonized version of itself. Meanwhile, Hamster and Gretel?
Like when Dada wants a caca all over the kitchen. Tia, Melissa exploded the chicken.
Or I dropped that plate full of hot empanadas and made a Jackson Pollock on Mom's terracotta.
Through all these disasters, we've not been persuaded to lose the traditions that we've celebrated.
Go ahead and look up a picture of the writer's room for this show. Actually, I'm being a dick. Don't do that. I will leave that bit in the video, though. Ah, what a year it's been. Remember when everyone got mad about that other Disney show? Why am I lecturing people about this? Have I seen my own skin? Is there anything else Hamster and Gretel has to offer?
Don't worry about my bedtime, you are not my mom. And I didn't mean to interrupt your little horse prom. You stole a cart of produce, how are you the one that's mad? And your rhymes are so corny, you remind me of my dad.
I'll take that as a no. Again, I'm just a guy. My opinion on things doesn't matter at all. If they do get a second season, I hope it improves. I'm rooting for them. I truly am. I wanted to like it. You see, I do know a little bit of other languages. I watched all of Poor Devil, originally known as Pobre Diablo. That means poor devil. An adult animated show about the spawn of Satan who doesn't want to bring pestilence and war to the world, but also doesn't want to disappoint his family. You already heard how I feel about anime earlier. Did you? Oh, because of Akira, right. And so, you know, your boy loves his dubs. Listen, I get it. Maybe in the era of 4Kids, the subs were always better, but nowadays the anime industry in the West has so much money funneled into it. To me, they're barely indistinguishable. For a foreign film, sure, but for an animated show, nuh-uh. I would rather learn the language than ever move my gaze to the bottom of the screen. So, Poor Devil. It has 7 or so forgettable episodes and then randomly one fantastic one out of nowhere near the end. It's like legitimately great. And while it does have a song per episode, an earlier draft of the script actually featured the episode So Much Cheek and So Little Chin because it does just barely hit the bar for 3 songs in one episode, if you count this as a song.
The Incel Club, yeah, of Coney Island. We ain't getting laid, it's not voluntary, yo. Celibate, but not voluntary, yo.
I'm pretty sure they purposefully sound bad. I promise the other musical numbers sound much better, despite being dubbed. Any other adult animated sitcoms that came out this year that fall under the honorable mentions category? Alright, live captive audience. I'm about to defend Koala Man because it's not even a bad show. It's not great, but it certainly isn't bad. It just so happens that executive producer Justin Roiland had his face plastered all over this project despite it being developed and created by Michael Cusack, and then the show dropped the same week everyone realized, hey, wait a minute, didn't this guy beat his wife? Editor Andrew alert. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what the media said would happen, okay? Do not sue me. And then a bunch of articles were published the likes of, here's the new show created all single-handedly by Bill Cosby's biggest fan. And it's not the best thing I've seen this year, but it's funny and it's got heart and it didn't deserve the hand it was dealt. It is funny though that Hulu's main formula now is to get a creator of a popular Adult Swim show to make the same thing, but for them. But Koala Man has nothing to do with Smiling Friends. It actually has more in common with Michael's other show, YOLO Random Subtitle. Like, you could argue that this doesn't really need to exist because he already has another predominantly set in Australia show that has an overarching story, but Koala Man goes all out with its cultural representation as the cast is made up of Australian superstars like Jermaine Clement, Hugh Jackman. Oh my god. It's because Koala Man is about her failing marriage with her husband, who doesn't pay her any attention so he can go cosplay as someone powerful. Oh, so yeah, you probably already know what my favorite thing of this year is. Koala Man's penultimate episode, Emu War 2. See, I told you this was an Australian show. The extent of my knowledge of this is that total drama episode and the entirety of H2O Just Add Water. The youngest, sort of the family, Liam wakes up one night with a song in his heart that overtakes him and warns of the future this great war will bring. The song slowly builds throughout the episode to a giant Mad Max crescendo, and while he does perform the song multiple times, they're really just intervals of the same song. Also, Michael fucking kills it. Really, this honorable mention section is just an excuse to talk about modern cartoons that I like. I'm not just a nostalgia critic. I watch new stuff too. Please watch Molly McGee. I'm begging you. I know that this section is going really long, but in my defense, someone should have cut me off by now. Well, no reason not to dig the hole deeper. Let me paint you a picture. June 2022, every week I checked my 5th favorite streaming service, Amazon Prime, to watch the new episode of one of many superhero parody shows. And I see a thumbnail that looks like this. So tell me why we get one full minute-long musical number with a choreographed dance.
I got starlight, I got sweet dreams.
I got Monka.
Who could ask for anything more? Who could ask for anything more?
You know that line in Uncut Gems where he says, "Why would you show it to me if I can't have it?" That's how I feel. People think that cartoons are best suited for musical episodes, probably because of me, but really it's a show that's incredibly serious with comedic undertones that kills it. And don't go in my comments and tell me that the show with Out of Jimmy's Head character is too serious for a musical episode. I saw this thumbnail in a hot day in June and thought I was about to get a love song between Huey and Starlight, a rousing team song by Mother's Milk, and a fucking villain power ballad by Homelander. Don't tell me you don't want to see that. He's already so campy. I know that at least 60% of the cast can sing, so let them. It would legitimately fit the show incredibly well. I saw Trolls 3. It was fine. Statistically, they're bound to make a musical episode. I mean, they greenlit 20 more seasons and 11 more spin-offs. One of them has to have one. Also, I think Doom Patrol would kill one. I think it's a little late for that now, though. How long has this honorable mention / rules explanation been? Because there's more stuff I want to go over. I'll take that as the go-ahead. I wanted to get a prop ukulele for this bit, but it didn't show up in time, so Bongo will have to do. Hey guys, you've probably heard a lot of stuff about me on the internet, about all the awful things I've done, how I broke my own rule number, whatever number we're on. For me to fully understand the musical episode in the context of the series, I must watch the entire series up to that point. So I just wanted to clear the air here and apologize and say, I actually really like the Buffy episode. I've changed my mind. In all fairness, my point at the last ceremony was that it wasn't for fans or for musical nerds because there is simply too much important plot going on here. And I was technically right. But ever since watching the first 2 seasons and then the musical episode in season 6, I actually finished the series. Legit, when I watched this for the first time, I was so confused. Man, Cordelia looks different. And after seeing it in its entirety, it's become one of my favorite series of all time, but it falls into the category of Doctor Who and wrestling, where I love them to death, but it'd be kind of embarrassing to recommend them. That's not gonna stop me trying. Unfortunately, most of my favorite early Buffy characters either leave the show or become the worst part of it, but that's okay because they gotta make room for my favorite character, Spike, you won my heart and became my favorite. Except for later season 5 and season 6. Basically everything past the musical episode, you can kind of stop there. I just could not go on listening to this playlist over and over on loop for years and not publicly retract what I said about this episode. Kind of like my feelings for the Mean Girl musical or Goosebumps, the project itself may still be a little lacking, but damn if I don't love those fucking songs. Give Buffy a chance. Just know they will make your favorite character the worst person ever. Just so we're clear, the rules are 3-song minimum. I must watch all the episodes leading up to the musical episode. They must be original songs, and it must be normal episode length. That last rule is contentious because there are a lot of specials I would like to talk about, but even more so, there are a lot of movies I would like to talk about. And it's not just Barbie and Mario having musical numbers over the last 2 years. I really loved Encanto, honestly way more than I loved Moana or Frozen 2. I'm writing this in early November, so the movie isn't out yet, but Disney recently dropped a song from their newest animated film, Wish, and it sounds like the inside of a Walmart. Also, I guess Little Mermaid remake came out with...
Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, wham, chicka, wham, wham, chicka, wham.
I used to be way more mad about these live-action Disney remakes because the dialogue around them was always about how they would replace the originals, but now a couple years out, it's abundantly clear that that cannot and will not happen. These things have a couple month shelf life. What is Will Smith Aladdin's lasting legacy? That no one remembers it exists? And now with the popularity of Disney Plus, there's no way these millennial wine moms aren't going to show their kids the originals? The children yearn for animated films. So by that metric, with movies that don't need to exist, that will be forgotten about in a handful of years, I think it's cool that little black girls got their Little Mermaid. It's sweet. It doesn't absolve Disney of their crimes, but out of all of them, I think at least this one deserves to exist. A little bit. Also, where's all this energy for a show like Ahsoka? A show that solely exists to be, hey, it's Ahsoka and Anakin and Captain Rex in live action. For those of you who don't know, I watched the first couple seasons of Star Wars The Clone Wars earlier this year, and I actually really liked it, despite what I may have said in the video. But then I transitioned into watching a bunch of newer Star Wars stuff that came out this year, and they all stunk. What if we got Ahsoka, but put her in live action? And made her boring. These are way more insulting to me than Disney live-action remakes. Just make an animated show. Oh, but they did. And guess what? It also sucks. Damn it! Baby Yoda isn't gonna cut it anymore. But boy, did Pedro Pascal have quite the year. Anyway, Encanto and Bob's Burgers movie are at the top of my list if I talk about musical movies someday. Even The Bad Guys and Turning Red had fantastic musical numbers. I already mentioned Puss in Boots. Who's your favorite fearless hero?
Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, wham, chicka, wham, wham, chicka, wham.
Also, Joker 2 is going to be a musical with Lady Gaga, and I will be seated. I had no interest in a Joker sequel before I heard that, and now it's my most anticipated film of the year. The Batman had a song. Man, what's with all the recent Radiohead?
I think I finally get Radiohead.
Bro, you should check out Elliott Smith.
Since I've basically already covered all the animated projects I've watched this year, I might as well give you a rundown of everything you've missed over the last 24 months. Hit it, baby. Bluey, Ohio, Bowser Farts, Pepino. I liked Royal Crackers more than I thought I would. I was kind of disappointed by Mutant Mayhem, but that's because I set my expectations to Spider-Verse level. YOLO is still good. Unfortunately, I've already given my thoughts on Velma. Modern Family Guy and American Dad are fine. I'm still not super in love with Modern Family Guy, but American Dad still rocks consistently. Owl House finale, the show ended. I liked it. Sad about it. Unicorn Warriors Eternal is good. I still like Big City Greens. I had a bit in here that's like, oh, this is before Rick and Morty comes back. Rick and Morty's fine. The thing about Rick and Morty is that I kind of let everyone tell me what I think, like, oh yeah, the Funny Pickle Show, let's all rag on this thing. And you know, I think jokes are totally valid. I'm not gonna say you're being too mean to a show, because whatever. But it is an interesting thing where whenever Rick and Morty isn't on, whenever they're not doing new episodes, I'm like, fuck Rick and Morty, oh, that shit's cringe. And then whenever a season comes back, I'm like, oh, I like this show, I forgot. Every season I'm like, man, oh, they're finally back, they're out of their rut, and I can't pinpoint exactly where that rut is. Even like season 3, I like bits in it. It's never devoid of quality. There are some episodes that are kind of icky to me, but as a whole, I like the show. I don't know why I keep forgetting that, or I let people convince me that I don't like it. You guys know I already don't like anime, but I do love me some fucking Rayman. This show rocks. I'm also slowly making my way through Scott Pilgrim. I refuse to binge a show. I'm gonna watch it an episode a week like God intended. Did I miss anything other than not seeing Ruby Gilman or Nimona? I don't think so. So now we can do the actual video. This video, the sequel to the original musical episode awards, is threefold. Like the original, I'm looking for Christmas-adjacent episodes because the two concepts tend to overlap. And I also need an excuse for this to be a December video, despite being biannual. That implies that I'm gonna do this in 2 years, which I'm not even sure I will. Unfortunately, there is no Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer 2. I know, I'm very sad. The two other types of episodes I'm going to be talking about are ones that I have been recommended since to talk about on this stage, and ones that could not have been done last time. If this truly is the biannual 2023 Musical Episodes Awards, why don't we talk about some new stuff? I've mentioned other modern cartoons earlier, and also not wanting to be solely a nostalgia guy, but I do really think this is the perfect opportunity to talk about some modern cartoons. I really don't want to be just the childhood nostalgia guy. Well, then what do you want to be, Andrew? It sounds like I don't want to be anything. I wish I did not exist. It doubles as a Christmas special and a year-end special. Happy holidays. 3 categories of requests, modern, and Christmas specials. This is the best and worst modern musical TV episodes. This is like the 5th intro we've done. That's right, real podium. Real podium this time. Are you sure you're okay back there?
Oh yeah, everything is definitely normal.
Your head is on backwards.
Your head is on
You know, it'd
backwards.
be easier to hear me if you were facing me.
Do not be afraid. It's supposed to do that. Hold that thought.
Are you serious, man? This is supposed to be a dual thing. Who else is gonna announce SpongeBob as Cartoon of the Year? Alright, I guess we'll just have to present the award for Best Musical Episode About a Square Yellow Sponge. No way this isn't Bart Simpson.
The snow is falling and the cold wind blows. Christmas is almost here. And I know that Santa has his jolly little eyes on me.
Earlier this year, I talked about the stigma around post-movie SpongeBob with Season 4 onward. And something I noticed while looking into what makes these eras different, I realized that while not as consistently funny, after the movie, SpongeBob did become a more musical show. I mean, don't get me wrong, SpongeBob did have the occasional song. It even had an original song in its first ever Christmas special from the year 2000. The nature of having multiple Christmas episodes, I'm going to compare them. The original is a classic, but not just because it came first, but because it's incredibly funny, like most early SpongeBob.
I hope he can read Portuguese.
Like, how do you even come up with that? SpongeBob, like any episodic cartoon, lacks a consistent canon. However, the only time we know for sure that an episode takes place after another one is because Bikini Bottom is introduced to the concept of Christmas in the first special, and then we get another one where they're already celebrating 12 years later. However, they do have their own version of Frosty the Snowman, just made out of sand instead of snow. Since I know you were all thinking that. Anyway, song is great. It's a classic, but you could tell the cast isn't really trying to flex their musical chops yet. Between these two Christmas specials, we had a movie, a change of leadership and staff, and then multiple special events, all with their own original musical numbers. But this isn't just any SpongeBob special. This one is in stop motion. You guys know I love shit like this. If we're comparing the episodes right off the bat, then I do have to say, as impressive as stop motion Patchy the Pirate is, it doesn't really match the cozy feeling of live action Patchy baking in his decorated house. Most people can't seem to pinpoint what exactly changed in SpongeBob, but to me, strangely enough, it's always been the budget. That's not to say that they throw more money at SpongeBob, because they probably did that super early on anyway, but something about bits in the early season like Nosferatu, living in the sunlight, and the slapped together set and costume of Patchy and Potty gave it this bottomless charm. Obviously, I know it wasn't, but at times it feels thrown together by a bunch of college students for a project, and that's not an insult. Anyway, Patchy has kidnapped a mailman and intends to do the same to all Santa Claus to finally get what he wants more than anything, but they're stopped by a literal fork in the road. Cute. Whenever a TV show switches to HD and widescreen, for whatever reason, it also takes a little while to update the theme song. That's why if you're watching a show that started in the 90s or 2000s that extends into the 2010s, you may see a widescreen episode with a 4x3 intro. I only bring this up because they clearly just used the opening from the previous Christmas special from a decade prior. I know it probably wasn't intentionally sweet, but I like it. It's nice. Did I mention the SpongeBob musical earlier? Like when we were talking about shows with good songs that aren't great. Have you seen it? Because this episode opens exactly like that. You can listen to the first song in the playlist right now to prove my point. SpongeBob wakes up so happy to start the day, and then he makes his way over to greet his neighbors Squidward and Patrick.
I will trap Santa in my box, locked up like Fort Knox, and make him stop the clock.
I don't remember it sounding like this. I know I always gush about mixed media, but I also really love the bit where Santa's puppet looks in two opposite directions. I just always thought it was really bold for a children's show to portray Santa as such a creepy weirdo. You don't see that enough. But this is what I meant. First he talked to Squidward, and then Patrick, and now Sandy, and then Mr. Krabs. The original I keep comparing it to because it's about learning what Christmas is doesn't really embrace the iconography until like halfway in. But in this special, we're in the future, baby. There's snow everywhere. Even the Krusty Krab is all decorated. I fucking love this holiday. Look, I'm a spooky bitch who likes dressing up too, but this is my favorite holiday. Blow me. It's just all the little minute details with the backgrounds and even the main characters. Plankton has this sparkly, sharp texture that looks like the pink stuff I used to get yelled at for eating. Oh, what? All of a sudden my experiences aren't universal? But yeah, this is the exact fucking layout of the SpongeBob live musical, even down to Plankton singing a more villainous version of the song SpongeBob started. Plankton is upset that he never gets any presents because he's the worst behaved boy in town, but he has a plan to make everyone else naughty, so he'll be good by comparison. Does Santa work off of spectrum rules, so we can really just act as bad as we want as long as there's one scapegoat who's acted worse? I'm starting the cult up again. He's discovered a secret element on the periodic table, jerktonium, that if consumed will turn its recipient into a huge dick. Figuratively. So to spread this virus to the bottomites, he puts flakes of this dense ore into bits of fruitcake, a Christmas staple that I have never once had in my life. In my defense, all I knew about it as a kid was that it makes reindeers give you amnesia. Plankton instantly tries the cake on SpongeBob for an awful control group, and when the sponge doesn't turn, he immediately gives up. We get more mixed media as the cake lands on his puppet tongue, which feels very Chowder-esque. That's the second time I've mentioned that show in this video. Huh. So yeah, Plankton gives up on the plan. He doesn't even make Spob spread the fruitcake. He just does that for fun. And it almost instantly converts some Bikini Bottom carolers into huge jerks. As if they weren't already. Listen, I love Christmas and everything associated with it, but I will always attest that going to someone's front door and singing if they show up is uniquely diabolical. Look, even the chum bucket has rust all over it. God, I love how this looks. After Plankton unicycles on his iconic Plankton unicycle he uses in every episode, SpongeBob continues to spread hatred to the masses at a parade. Is this supposed to be multiple kids in a trench coat? Why is he built like that?
Everyone at the head enhancement clinic said nobody would notice.
I'm letting you guys know right now that I cannot get rid of the fart noises. You're just gonna have to get over it.
Everyone can get behind a mouthful of Christmas time. Let's all eat some hot fruitcake and go.
From the jump, I was already in love with the special, just off the merit of it being stop motion. The obvious comparison is to those old Rankin Boss Christmas films, but that's actually not what comes to mind. You know what I think of every time I think of stop motion Christmas?
So, little boy, what would you like for Christmas?
I want a sled and a truck and a bike and a train.
Drunk is nature.
Plankton realizes he gave up too early and starts transitioning into Plan B. See, this is how you know this is post-movie SpongeBob. Old Sheldon used to have some follow-through. He made it all the way to Plan Z. Anyway, it's a SpongeBob robot. If you're a casual fan of the sponge, you may find this odd, but if you're a super fan, you know that they do this all the time. What is it about a sponge that people want to make into a robot? Is it his square stature? But the catch is Plankton has to wind it up before it goes out. See, guys, we did get to talk talk about the new Futurama. Before the conflict can continue, we cut back to stop motion Patchy and Potty crashing the mail truck, and then cut to commercial, and then cut back to them trying to eat each other. So what's SpongeBob up to? They do this joke more clearly with Squidward later, but I like that Mr. Krabs isn't even converted. He's just mad. Speaking of which, this needless violence of the robot SpongeBob attacking Squidward goes approximately on number 6 of my top 10 worst Squidward torture porns. Sandy uses a science machine to search for magic as if those things aren't wholly antithetical, and then finds the Jerktonium despite it being an element on the periodic table. Like, it's not a secret Plankton discovered, it's just in their table. Sandy knows about it, but also it's magic. Is this the only one that's magic? I use 3 forms of magic: necromancy, lycanthropy, and lead. Even the X-ray Sandy uses on Spob reminds me of one of those internet puppet shows that's purposefully creepy. I can't for the life of me remember its name, though. It's not an equation that saves the day, it's a frequency, like the brown note. Spob has to sing a conversion song to return all the townsfolk to the light of Jesus Christ means Santa. We must purge them of their sinful ways, SpongeBob. Along with video games and movies and toys, the SpongeBob franchise machine also pumped out original albums performed by the cast as their characters. While a decent amount were originals, some like The Best Day Ever were so good that they just reverse engineered an episode out of it. And as much as I love the opening and the fart sound effect song, it's abundantly clear what they built this special around.
'Tis the season to be jolly not jerky. Jolly not jerky. Santa brought nearly every gift on your list. Why whine about the one that he missed?
Around the time this song dropped, my sisters and I were listening to it while deciding who would hang up our family heirloom SpongeBob ornament, and we fought over it. But in the end, we were all glad to be together for at least that night. Won't have a lot more together after then. Why am I crying? Look at all these classic SpongeBob characters. You got this fish, her, Pine Tree.
Go ahead, Pine Tree, show me what you got!
Alright, I promise I won't reference any more cartoons other than SpongeBob's. That doesn't mean I can't reference ones I've already referenced. Santa Claus, who, by the way, in this, I don't even know if he's a guy. He's like the size of the fish, and he's this weird pigman thing. Where did the last freak go? I like to think it works off of Tim Allen the Santa Claus rules, where this nether pigman just killed him and took his role. Anyway, he's voiced by John Goodman, as in the man who plays Santa on Futurama. That John Goodman. Man, he's got this roll down pat. Also apparently played him in The Year Without Santa Claus, which I've never seen, but I gotta say, isn't really piquing my fancy. 13 Reasons Why is in this? As it turns out, the law of equivalent exchange was correct, as Santa only gifts presents to Plankton, who is the best by comparison, as the robot has been besmirching SpongeBob's good name. Okay, so he sees all and knows that Plankton is still bad, just not as bad, but he doesn't know that the robot was made by him. Also, what did Squidward do that was worse than that? He got beat up by a robot. That one's going in the sin counter. This special is bad because of plot hole or something. And then that same robot tries to usurp Santa, the Santa Claus 2 style. Alright, I'll stop referencing. Of course the robot explodes. What else would it do? Oh, it's not homemade. It was made in a factory. A bomb factory. It's a bomb. Through the rubble and debris, the pig Santa finds the turning mechanism that reads, "If found, return to the chum bucket," because I guess Andrew Garfield over here isn't as smart as he seems. You see, kids at home, when you can't think of a joke, you can just reference other media. In the end, Santa doesn't rectify any of this and just leaves after dumping coal all over Plankton, making this the second special in a row nobody got any presents. Then why are we doing any of this? And we know multiple years have passed because Plankton says he's got a stocking full of coal every year. Santa flies off as Patrick hitches a ride to capture him like a rat, as we cut back to Patchy extensively doing the same thing. But it turns out it was all a frozen mirage of a polar bear that mauls Patchy to death. So did any of this happen at all? Like, if SpongeBob is a show in the Patchy universe, what does this stop motion mean? Is this a different Patchy? Does any of this matter at all? In the end, I guess all that's left to say is that if I were Santa, I would probably have a reason to only come back here every 12 years. We'll just have to wait until 2024. Wait a minute. I truly believe Pig Santa will return to the land of Bikini Bottom because
I have faith in you.
you don't really know what you have until it's gone. You get so used to presenting these with others that you don't really know how to do it alone. It's interesting I talk about SpongeBob again because forever ago when I talked about the show after the movie, I kind of begged to be noticed by the cartoon community. I thought that would come with loving praise, but instead it came with judging eyes.
We paid $9 for this?
I paid 10.
Not only is this a wrap-up of the year as a whole, but it's also been a crazy year for me. Remember when the ship crashed and then before everyone could get back on board, a man in a purple suit rescued me and went into hiding and then eventually got found out and now I'm here being punished. Oh yeah, and Star Wars. I talked about how Star Wars The Clone Wars was one of the main tentpoles of Cartoon Network's action block You Are Here, along with the cryptid-based Secret Saturdays, in which I mentioned that I never really got into action cartoons as a kid. My first superhero film was Iron Man 3. Which is a Christmas film, by the way. See, it's a holiday special. But I know that DC had all the cool cartoons. That is its legacy. It also had some weird dramas on the CW. No. It can't be! But yeah, while Marvel was dominating the box office, DC had a reputation of making great television. Peacemaker is also good. But now, after multiple viewer requests, I've elected to talk about the best DC animated show from Cartoon Network. It's not Teen Titans. Shit.
Who is doing this to us? And on this we must concur.
They're dastardly, despicable, disturbingly inexplicable, and imminently kickable.
Batman the Brave and the Bold is an action cartoon starring the world-famous Caped Crusader that ran from 2008 to 2011 and was added to the CN You Are Here lineup in November 2008. However, like pretty much all the shows that started on that block, the show would outlive it by a small margin. Every generation has their Batman show. Many believe the animated series was the best to ever do it. And this Batman, played by Diedrich Bader, who I only knew previously as Hoss Delgado from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and Underfist.
Oh, imaginary vampire, eh? In that case, I'll just use my imaginary hammer and stake.
This would have technically been young Andrew Ultra's first Batman, had he not started watching Robot Chicken from a young age. My Batman, the first thing that comes to mind when I think back, is stop-motion Seth Green. Also the Lego Batman video games that came out shortly after. And the movie. Forget Seth Green, legitimately when I picture Batman in my head, I hear Will Arnett. I am not kidding. Anyway, despite it being a Batman show, this project used this opportunity to show the Dark Knight's team-building abilities, as every episode stars him teaming alongside another character from DC's Rogues Gallery. And the cool thing about the show is that it didn't feature iconic heroes like Superman or Wonder Woman. The show worked because it utilized D-list characters that would never get their own solo projects, like Aquaman and the Blue Beetle. Right, so I don't want any tribalism in my comments about which characters came first or who ripped off who, because it really doesn't matter. But after having only watched Marvel stuff for the majority of my life, seeing episodes with old sorcerer with a salt and pepper goatee, a red robot who just wants to feel something and have kids, and a character whose robotic suit talks to him, I'm not saying anything. The show actually uses Blue Beetle a lot. I kind of get the feeling they wanted to make a Jaime show. I mean, even Batman is blue in this. And it's not just the hero. Sure, we got one Joker episode, but the majority of villains in this are the likes of Calendar Man, Babyface, Clock King.
Break, choke, throttle.
Ooh, my kind of fun.
But this episode, the penultimate episode of Season 1, stars the titular Music Meister, played by Neil Patrick Harris, making it so I definitely never have to talk about How I Met Your Mother, or its modern reboot. Speaking of unnecessary modern reboots, since we're talking about stuff this year, an earlier draft of this script featured a That 70s Show musical episode, and by extension, That 90s Show, but then I thought, well, this is an awful time to be talking about this show. The Music Meister was actually apparently created originally for this episode, but has since become a part of the wider DC canon. Sort of. Joining Harley Quinn in the pantheon of characters originated in a cartoon. When is he getting his own show? or his own movie. Being completely honest, I wasn't nearly as into the show as I thought I would be. I thought I got over my distaste for action cartoons, mostly this year after really loving that horny Superman show. That's how you know the show is anime inspired, because of the breedable muscle dude. How come when he got hit by a laser, all that happened was that his shirt ripped off and he got oiled up? But I will say, when this show does a genre episode, it goes all out. This one opens with an orchestra tuning up to play the theme song. There's a Christmas episode earlier where it's kind of implied Bruce Wayne was a bratty, rich kid, and as an adult, he has to grapple with his final memory with his parents being spoiled. I think that's a really interesting way for this character to go. Similarly, I love this interpretation of the Batman. Mild-mannered Batman. He's just seen everything and is thus unfazed by the shenanigans that befall him. There's an episode where Blue Beetle and him are warped to another planet, and Batman's like, yes, of course. The flordistic dimension. What? So musical isn't that far off. A giant robot crab breaks into the space station to stop Big Bird from getting on the Challenger. This is where our cavalcade of extra characters come in. In another similarity to Clone Wars, which was the show that ended each You Are Here block, D. Bradley Baker is all over this show. And because he's often the villain, he just does the Klaus voice. I know it's annoying how often I say, hey, this voice sounds like this other person. I'm not gonna stop. Speaking of which...
A good spanking is in order for you boys.
So, you know Gray, Delilah Griffin, voice of Vicky, Azula, Frankie, Sam. I mean this in the most normal way possible. I'm a big fan.
Bullies used to pick on me because I sang in choir, but something very strange occurred when I kept singing higher. The ruffians around me quickly fell into a trance.
Okay, great. So our villain is a band kid. Batman's greatest weakness. The Music Meister's power is that he can brainwash anyone through song to make them do his bidding. It just so happens that a lot of his bidding involves singing and dancing, making this a rare example of all the singing actually happening as we hear them in canon. Kind of like Buffy, but also nothing like that. And although I don't really vibe with the exclusively action shows, for me there has to be a little bit of something else. I will admit that the show has great fight choreography. And I think because of that, the dancing in this episode isn't super animated, but instead looks like you would see it on stage. Like when you talk about choreography in an animated musical number, you normally mean characters moving in ways unorthodox to fit the song. I feel like what I'm looking at now could be done by real people on stage, and that's not an insult per se, I just thought it was interesting. The band kid becomes even more band kid as he notices Black Canary's beautiful singing voice, as Batman is not impressed. He puts in special bat earplugs. I love the goofy gadget-inspired version of Batman who's just prepared for everything. No wonder Adam West appears in this show. Also, Space Ghost. We get more ballet fighting, and I'm just now realizing that this song is actually quite long. I think it has more to do with constantly starting and stopping and then starting and stopping so that the bat can interject and punch bad guys. But it all comes to an end as the Meister makes his brainwash victims kick line into a fire spewing out of a rocket. Batman saves them, and then we cut to commercial as the curtain drops. Again, this is very wacky, but not too much for this show. I mean, Batmite was in an earlier episode. I don't even know how to explain that fucker.
There's one thing that could still get in my way.
Your show's about to have a long intermission, Music Meister. 20 years to life.
For what? For making people sing and dance? I like the detail that the song begins with him playing a church organ when singing about bats. Very gothic.
It's a good thing we've got Arkham, cause he really drives us bats. Drives us fast, drives us fast. He really drives us fast. He drives us fast.
We get cameos from a bunch of other heroes and villains. Why wasn't this just the finale? It seems like a pretty suitable one. Or is it just because people hate musicals? The song ends with the Jimmy Fallon a cappella screen, and I know I said I would stop with the obscure references. Does anyone remember there was a channel like a decade ago called Random Encounters, and they would do video game musicals? Like they would make songs about Pokemon, Sonic, Zelda. I'd be lying if I said I didn't pop on the Medic song from time to time.
All I do, you've ignored. All I do, I've abhorred.
It kinda goes hard. Anyway, they made a video titled Batman Arkham Opera, and I know it technically came after, but I can't stop thinking about it. The way the villains chime in with their own lines, the way Catwoman sings about unrequited love, this whole episode feels like they just swapped some characters around. I promise you that's not an insult. It's not a compliment either. It's just really weird. There's actually a chance you might know who this channel is, but not for the reason I said. I've said multiple times that I don't remember a whole lot from like 2012 to 2015, and I think it's because, and I want to make it abundantly clear, I totally understand changing your content with the times. I still have nothing but respect for all these people. Basically, all my favorite Nintendo YouTubers around the time started exclusively making content about gimmick horror, and I thought, oh, well, I'm done watching these. I still listen to Nate's music though, because it was so good it transcended the animatronic game. Also Bendy. I like Bendy music. Sue me. Doesn't mean the game is anything beyond a hallway simulator. Where was I? Oh yeah, Black Canary sings about loving Batman and she knocks it out of the park. Meanwhile, the Music Meister is thinking, why do women only like stupid jerks who treat them like shit? They sing together so that maybe this bimbo will give a nice guy like him a chance, but she picks the Chad anyway. I guess it's true what they say. Nice guys really do. It's imperative that you know I'm joking. All these women never treat me right. This video truly is a rundown of the year 2023. We get B-roll of CG factory porn, and it's only upon looking at all these spinning gears and axles that I realize this episode has been all gas and no breaks. There's been some dialogue from Batman, but this is not just a 3-song quota musical. This is a 1-song transitions into another musical. And maybe that's why not all songs are created equal.
Final nightcap. Death trap.
Oh, okay, so this song is about a death trap.
The dirt nap. Death trap.
Sure, yeah, we gotta get more death trap in there for sure.
Death trap.
We're really stretching our rhymes and leaning on this whole death trap thing, aren't we?
Death trap.
All right, I get it. And then afterward, Batman just asks, was the singing really necessary? Which is a really funny implication. The Music Meister is not there and did not make her do this, and all the music thus far has been diegetic. She was just singing while they were about to die. No wonder he's annoyed. That song sucked.
Is the man that the world shall obey. So do your job, steal all you can, while you're under my sway.
He's radicalizing our youth. 20 years to life, 1 million years dungeon. And then Mr. Meister tries to get all the heroes and villains to get along, which is exactly how the Powerpuff Girls musical ended. See, I do actually remember stuff from previous videos. I'm not losing my memory anymore. Between you and me, I don't think they can even hear me. The staff around here has been pretty sloppy recently. Meister takes over the entire population, excluding Batman and Black Canary, because they have earplugs in so as to not get overstimulated like me. But then his zombies remove her earplugs and then orders her to sing high enough to beat the Batman. I don't even know if they remember to take his earplugs out. And I gotta say, hitting these high notes while fighting, I can't stop thinking about random encounters. You really need to socialize your child, unless they'll end up remembering all the video game musical videos made by a YouTube channel in the early 2010s. That wasn't the only example, by the way. Wenda, my mother warned me, Wenda, since I was born, she... And then finally, after 20 minutes of being too Chad and too mysterious to engage in this chicanery, the Batman sings. Their simultaneous high notes shatter the glass to stop the Music Meister and free the brainwashed masses.
You've done it again, hero. And that's some set of pipes you're sporting there.
Ma'am, please.
Such a clever boy. Since the day's been saved, what do you say we grab a bite?
I'm begging you to stop, please. I have problems, I think. Batman gets the fuck out of there because he doesn't care about fruitless things like boobs. The only thing he wants to bury his face in is justice. Based. Black Canary sings another song about how she loves the Bat, but understands that he can never love her back in the way she wants him to. I have about 3 or 4 hyperfixations at a time, so I need to make room in my head for useless information. The new ones tend to push out the old ones, so from time to time I will entirely forget that I've seen all 13 seasons of a thing, and I only remember it exists and get re-obsessed with it again because it comes back. Anyway, here's a clip I like.
When you love the Doctor, it's like loving the stars themselves. You don't expect a sunset to admire you back. And if I happen to find myself in danger, let me tell you, the Doctor is not stupid enough or sentimental enough, and he is certainly not in love enough to find himself standing in it with me.
Ironically, the way the bat sings at the end is kind of like the Doctor dances. All right, we gotta finish this episode. I'm no relationship expert, man, but she's singing about loving another man right in front of your face. You gotta get out of there. Will Green Arrow and Black Canary end up together? Will the Batman ever open himself up to love? Is the Music Meister truly dead? The curtain closes on this episode and all will be revealed. Never. I'm probably never gonna finish this show. It just didn't grab me. I suppose I'll continue doing this on my own.
Did somebody say the staff around here is sloppy?
Like a couple minutes ago?
Well, I believe everything is fine.
Is your jaw okay, man? It's like hanging off your face.
My jaw is perfectly normal. I like it better like this.
You're starting to scare me a little, man.
Good. I am a skeleton.
Barely.
What was that?
Why don't you go back to whatever side adventure you're having back there? It's true. As you guys may know from childhood trauma, I was afraid of a lot of things when I was a kid. I'm sure skeletons would have been one of them. It's strange the way our mind works, that specific things can trigger specific memories, but I don't want to be the nostalgia guy. Tonight I want to give some love to some modern cartoons that I feel like aren't given proper respect. So right now I'd like to present the award for Nostalgic Show that ended in 2023. Are they writing these retroactively? How do they keep doing this?
When will the rain end? I miss my best friends. A wasted Saturday. I'm stuck inside to play. I wish I were at the creek.
I think the last Cartoon Network show I watched regularly on cable was Steven Universe. It's not like I grew out of it or anything. I just moved out and stopped having cable, because why would I want to pay for all of that? That's not to say that I haven't gone back and watched Tig and Seek, Apple and Onion, and Elliot from Earth, but none of those really felt like they were going to stick around. So when Craig of the Creek dropped and it became one of CN's most popular shows, actually airing alongside the never-ending wall of Gumball and Teen Titans Go. But at the same time, I never really got into it. I tried watching an episode as it was airing, but it didn't grab me for some reason. Years later, in like 2021, I was stuck on a plane for a couple of hours, and this airline had cable television. Somehow, I don't pretend to know how it works. And it just so happened the day I was flying was the day of a huge Craig of the Creek marathon. I thought while I'm in the air, I might as well watch some cartoons, and the first episode I watched was about Craig being home alone with his little sister, making cute little snacks for her. That's where it grabbed me. This is something I did as a child. I don't know how they did it, if it was an act of God or not, but every episode that aired that day personally grabbed me, as our 4 to 5 close families would all be let loose in various backyards and woods. It's a show that captures the wonder of being a kid in the summer without alienating younger audiences. They got smartphones, but they're still playing with those damn Pokemon cards, where almost every Gen Z person is basically an adult, and because of that, they're all like, kids these days don't watch cartoons and play like they used to. And sure, I've seen my fair share of iPad kids, but that doesn't mean they all do that all the time. Is Cartoon Network slowly dying right before our eyes as they move studios, axe shows, and extend Adult Swim's time slot farther and farther? Oh, I just made myself sad. Look, I know a show that started in 2018 isn't exactly super modern, but it just ended this year, and now they've pivoted to making a baby show for babies about Craig's little sister Jessica. The show, Craig of the Creek, not the baby one, is fun and inventive and legitimately funny. If you're one of those freaks who only cares about lore and an overarching story, they have some of that too, but they do it in a really cool way. Because they are still children, their imaginations run wild. There's no actual box robot or space warrior or evil tyrannical monarchy, but the kids believe there is. The actual show we see never divulges from the real, but it also never downplays communicates what the kids are feeling. Except for the sour lemon episode, that was weird. When the kids are put in imaginary handcuffs, it is both funny and it serves a story purpose. We know it's silly and that they aren't actually in handcuffs, but to the kids, they may as well be zip tied in the trunk of, I'm gonna stop this analogy, I think. And that's basically the crux of this episode, In the Key of the Creek. First name Craig, last name of the Creek, is stuck inside on a rainy day, so he imagines an adventure for all his friends to go on, because of which his imagination can run wild and they can face greater challenges than they've ever seen. I'm actually relieved this episode exists because I was worried I was the only one who made fake adventures with fake versions of my friends as a kid. Don't look at me like that.
I wish the creek could be everywhere. The warmth of the sun and the breezy air. Hooray. I wish it never rained. I wish I were at the creek.
Craig of the Creek is actually a pretty musical show, but instead of traditional theatrical musical numbers, it uses like pop punk mixes that gives them even more of a nostalgic feeling. I normally hate the term 2000s core, and yet, Craig thinks up a fake adventure where they find a secret key and all guess on what it could be. My favorite character, JP, or I guess Craig's imaginary version of it. Oh damn, this rabbit hole goes deep. Maybe that's why the illusion crumbles by the end of the song, as the characters inside his head are fighting the crux of the adventure they are forced to live out. Dream JP thinks it's a key to a truck. My favorite little detail in the show is that despite hanging out with the horse girls, he prefers to roleplay as a human truck guy, like Herbie, but also not really. Honestly, at this point, I'm just gushing about this show. I love cartoons where there's a very fleshed out map that could easily be translated into video game format. I know that's really specific. It's a crime we haven't gotten an Adventure Time hit and run style game.
I don't know. She don't know. Betrayed it to me for a bottle of fairly used root beer. I think we're gonna keep the key. Then make like a trading tree and leave. Oh, we wanna know where the treasure could be.
We see this densely populated map as the kids venture to different categories of kids at the creek, like the insufferable older nerd characters that I love, Sad Boy, Pilot Geddon. Surprisingly, I love this show, despite the type of writers I normally dislike. I'm sorry that you have to hear this from me, and again, I'm not an authority, but world building, while important, is the least important part of building a script. I can't tell you how many spec scripts I've looked over that have no characters, but a Silmarillion of NPCs. Go hit the drawing board, Dungeon Master. But this show thrives because all the characters are actually really fun to watch. Honestly, this montage part is set to a quick guitar solo, so no real lyrics to decipher, but the wandering does eventually lead them to the Professor Egad character. Every playground has one. I might want to change that line because I don't like the implication that I hang around playgrounds. She wants to science the shit out of the key to find the Christmas magic hidden inside, or whatever we said earlier.
Digest your discovery. Let's use our knowledge of string theory.
I need to know if you understand, man.
Understand what?
The history and development of string theory, man.
Huh? No cousin 1666.
As much as I love the divorced dad rock, this song has a really cool doo-wop style. Also characters singing over each other. I don't know what genre it's called, but it's my favorite. Eventually, the resident toilet taster discovers that the key tastes like a toilet. So real Craig takes all his paper materials into a full bath as the fake versions of all of them delve into the worst level of Banjo-Kazooie. And because the song is underground, it sounds more echoey and mysterious.
What's that sound? Is there something lurking in the underground? It could be a monster truck?
It's probably not a monster truck.
But because the children in Craig's head live in the imagination of a child, they have to fight bigger battles than your average everyday kid.
Oh my gosh, a giant pink seahorse!
A lot bigger than the stuff we usually run into.
Kelsey, the self-proclaimed knight of the group, takes this call to action in her hero's journey as an opportunity to show her sword skills. It's a PVC. I like that in this imagination realm, Mortimer can sing, but still chooses not to speak.
Jesus Christ, man, what's wrong with you?
Mate, you said no talking, that was a kick!
Yeah, you were singing!
Oh my god, singing isn't talking!
Remember what I said about my taste in music? This section looks gorgeous, by the way. Honestly, the choreography hasn't been all there this episode, but the animation has been. I like seeing this many classic background characters on screen at once. After escaping the gross sewers and slaying the beast that lies within, they are confronted with the answer to their long-awaited key question. Truck. Not even a monster truck? Oh, so now you want to keep it realistic? You just slayed a Chalk Zone monster.
I knew there was a monster truck waiting here for me, and we can rev its engine with our little ancient key.
These animated musical episodes like to sneak in references to famous musicals, and this one references the best one. The theatrical release of Grease, where Sandy and Danny fly off in the sky in their 50s car. But the absurdism of the situation finally cracks Craig's fictional walls as he remembers it's raining while also gaining sentience and learning he's a cartoon character. Actually, that part doesn't happen. Gotta save that for the movie. Maybe I just thought that because the fantasy ends with them running through photorealistic locations like a bad creepypasta. Wait a minute, is that ska?
I can't find a way to have fun no matter where I play, because the creek is everywhere. 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 The creek.
Greg! Inside, boys, please.
Sorry, Dad. I was just having fun playing inside.
This, like most videos, is really just an excuse to watch series I never really had an excuse to go back to, because I don't want to pull another Buffy. I've made it my mission to watch all the episodes leading up to the musical. And there were a lot of contenders, but I did my best to tally together the most requested episodes from the last ceremony and cover those ones here tonight. But the question is, which of those shows are worth talking about the most?
Talk about ponies!
Hey buddy, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to host a show here. What I was going to do was transition the lost nostalgia of Craig into something I dropped as a child. You know what? Never mind. Another award for, fine, I'll talk about it. Goddamn.
Morning in Ponyville shimmers. Morning in Ponyville shines. And I know for absolute certain that everything is certainly fine.
But hold that thought. Earlier this year, I said that my first experience with the My Little Pony franchise was finding the 2010 show on iTunes and downloading the first couple episodes. But that's not entirely true. First of all, like most old things, my first experience was probably from Robot Chicken. But growing up with my two sisters and being raised by my mom, while also having a portable DVD player to keep us calm at all times, I picked up some other stuff. So along with classic films like Alvin and the Chipmunks, Fat Albert, and Bob the Butler, there was one DVD that, regardless of holiday, I would watch all the time. And that was Generation 3's A Very Minty Christmas. See, while you guys thought you were the original OG bronies for watching Friendship is Magic when it aired in the 2010s, my fruity little ass was watching Ponies all the way back in 2005. I'll take any opportunity to talk about Christmas. It was a straight-to-DVD 40-minute film that has a 5 out of 10 on IMDb. But what do they know? It wasn't for them. It was for me. After watching Friendship is Magic for this video, and we will get to that, a lot of Generation 3 characters seem off.
Why, thank you. Thank you, darlings. How darling of you all.
Thank you, Rainbow Dash.
I remember loving this movie, and by extension loving Minty, but she kind of ruins everything here. She shatters the Here Comes Christmas candy cane, and now Santa can't find Ponyville, and that opens up a whole new can of worms. Does Santa exist in this universe? Is he a horse like everyone else, or is he a human-like entity that just comes to Ponyville every year? Or does he look like a weird pig man? This is really gonna throw off my power scaling list, but Minty just tries to replace Santa anyway. I know it doesn't count as an episode, but when else am I gonna be able to talk about this movie? This DVD movie has some songs too.
A big balloon or blocks, they always come in handy. And nothing says
is Christmas like a pair of socks?
The mayor or Christmas leader, some dumb fuck named Pinkie Pie, who the fuck is that, tells Minty to get out of town. She flies to the North Pole in a hot air balloon like the worst Community musical episode. See? Continuity. And then all the ponies follow her to apologize when it's definitely still her fault. And then they go back to Ponyville and learn that Santa was there. He just stole Minty's sock idea, hanging up socks for every pony. So this implies that this is the origin story of modern Christmas, or that the ponies are like dinosaurs and they eventually all die off to make way for humans. But Santa is immortal and also has no physical form, I guess. Minty ruins everything, and they don't even learn their Grinch lesson that Christmas isn't about presents. They get their presents. Nobody learns anything. Least of all, Minty.
Hooray! Everything is meaningless! Nothing I do has consequence!
You get it? Horse, man? It's related. Alright, I'll talk about Friendship is Magic finally. But put a pin in that sock origin story because it will come back later. I don't know why it took me so long to get back into the show as an adult. It's got everything I could want. It has songs, music. I actually did really like it about 14 or so episodes in. The way I laid my workout is that I watched an episode a day of each series I wanted to catch up on, and like a week into MLP and Batman, I almost gave up. It really is true that most shows need more time to find their proper footing. This would be the time I would call back to that 90s show, but there's no way that show's getting renewed now. And I'm not even trying to be a middle-aged man here whining about not liking the show meant for little girls, and that it needs to be better for me. It's not that it's not funny in early episodes, it's just that it's not telling jokes. It just wasn't that kind of show. I mean, we learned valuable lessons like friendship, racism is bad, trust, racism is bad, forgiveness, racism is bad. Would you believe me if I told you a bunch of bronies ended up being alt-right? Did you not watch your own show? Ironically, the point where it gets good is around episode 11 or 14, both of which have classic songs. Or maybe I'm just biased. I'm gonna say this now, beyond watching the first 7 or so episodes as a kid, I also used to watch YouTube all the time. I'm just gonna say this now. I already kind of did a bit about it earlier. A lot of people think I hate this guy. I don't, all right? I don't want to cause beef. On top of watching the first 7 or so episodes as a kid, I also watched a YouTuber who would use the talent show episode as a barometer for ear-bleeding cringe. And then I got to that episode, and I actually really liked the Crusader song. I don't know what that says about me, but I expected it to be abysmal. Out of all the series I watched for this project, I have gone back to the playlist of songs from this series the most. Except for one of them. I'm sorry, I just can't hear the pony every pony should know without thinking about the Gamer's Atlas. I know it's such a strange thing to get hung up on, but it makes me sad and scared. Anything else I should natter on about before the actual episode? I like Fluttershy, she's my favorite. She's so me. There is a stark difference between an episode with 3 songs and an episode that sets out to be a musical. The episode opens with music tuning up and an instant overture. The sort of main pony, Twilight Sparkle, sings about how everything is totally fine and nothing can possibly go wrong, which is just asking for trouble. I don't think it's really a complaint to say the Flash show on the Hub Network has stilted animation, but it is noticeable after watching Batman. And I'm not even one of those people who thinks Flash is automatically bad. They do try some tap dancing though. I don't know if this has anything to do with a different crew or not, but watching the show in order, I notice how they make the characters act less and less like ponies. Like they basically stand on 2 legs most of the time. I guess it's just easier to be expressive when they're vague cartoon creatures and not equines tied to the ground. But the song ends as Twilight learns that high-strung fashion pony Rarity now has the cutie mark of the rambunctious and cool Rainbow Dash theme song. So cutie marks are the little tattoos on the butts of all the ponies in Pony World. Some of them correlate to their personality or job, and some of them are just, this chick is rich and likes spoons, I guess. There's a character in the show, one of many, that her whole thing is that she hasn't gotten her cutie mark yet, and she really wants one. But she's a member of an Apple family dynasty where all the family members have Apple-related marks. I can't wait to find my destiny. Sorry, babe, you're gonna have to work in the fields until you're like 80. I wonder what it's gonna be. I don't know, man. Probably something Apple-related. Your name is Apple Bloom. So how do they get their names then? Rainbow Dash just happened to be named that before she got the rainbow cutie mark? That's convenient. This dude is named Snails and his mark is a snail, but he doesn't even like snails. He's just slow. But the character with bubbles is also slow, kind of. It depends on what version you watch. Well, if it is the mark that makes the name, then Rarity is now Rainbow Dash, ironically being more in line with Gen 3, where Rainbow Dash is the one who says, "Darlings." Twilight seems to be the only one who's noticed what's happened, how we've fallen into a different timeline. Why do the ponies not remember their lives? We get caught up with the rest of the cast singing about being bad at their jobs, but still believing they have to do them because of the mark coursing through their veins.
It's got to be my destiny, my destiny, and it's what my cutie mark. It's what my cutie mark. Yes, it's what my cutie mark is telling me.
Going into this project, I not only watched all the show up to this point, I also fully immersed myself in the fandom to replicate what I missed from not finishing the show at the time. I surrounded myself with previous fandom contributors to guide me on this journey, but I wasn't completely oblivious. All this to say, seeing long hair Pinky took me back to my youth, like that scene from Ratatouille. I think I used that line twice in the script, actually. I may not have loved the ponies, but I sure as hell loved creepy shit. And yet I still love Christmas more. Apparently all this happened because Twilight Sparkle got an unmarked letter and almost immediately read the magic words out loud, goosebump style.
Though tradition demands you be present, I expect to see as little of you as possible. With dread but cautious optimism, Princess Celestia.
And even more, apparently, the elements of harmony have changed. All right, hold on. The elements of harmony are 6 magical talisman that give the main spelled M-A-N-E 6. They give them powers over evildoers, and they all represent a specific element they excel at. Applejack is honesty, Fluttershy is kindness, Pinkie Pie is laughter, and Twilight is magic, which isn't similar to any of those at all. I got the power of loving one another. What did you get? Oh, necromancy? Okay. But then Rarity is generosity, which, like, really? And Rainbow is loyalty. And in the Discord episode, they have her bailed to show how unlike herself she's acting, as if she hasn't done this multiple times over. She was willing to let her friend's livelihood go out of business because she wanted apple cider. So, now that we understand the elements of harmony, the little dragon sidekick and worst character in the show, Spike, pitches multiple ideas to Twilight that appeared in previous episodes, as this is the season finale. But he fails to mention the time Twilight successfully traveled through time. Like, in canon, I think the rules work more like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everything you change has already happened, but Spike doesn't know that. He gives up pretty easily, actually. He just admits defeat, or just doesn't care. I don't care for Spike. This is a nice change of pace. I don't think we've gotten a bad song from this show yet. Like, even Love is in Bloom wasn't great, but it was background music. If this song is meant to be Twilight, then I cannot hear her at all. And I'm the Cutie Mark Crusaders defender. Twilight Sparkle stares at the key art PNG of her friends framed in her room and has an epiphany. She realized all she has to do is put the ponies back into their elements, figuratively, and they'll realize their true destiny. She starts with Fluttershy, getting her to help Rainbow with the animals because Fluttershy would do anything for Rainbow Dash. Unfortunately, a part of understanding the fandom is learning about the shipping wars that went down, and I refuse to play the field. But people want Rainbow with the apple farmer when she has so much more chemistry with I'm not doing this again. Fluttershy makes quick work wrangling the animals and gets all her memories and her cutie mark back, meaning that 2 ponies currently have the same exact mark. I know the Apple family all have apple-related insignia, but at least they're slightly different. Sorry, Apple Bloom.
A true friend helps a friend in need. A friend will be there to help you see. A true friend helps a friend in need to see the light that shines from a true friend.
We get another montage adjacent song putting our wipeout counter at the letter Z. I don't know how else to describe this song other than Biblecore. Like the kind of song they'd play at those week-long Bible school events where you would learn about Jesus through making crafts or whatever. Or is that just my childhood? You guys didn't grow up in a weird town? All the ponies are irritable because nobody's telling hilarious jokes, implying that the townsfolk even liked Pinkie Pie's jokes when the most we've seen from them in this series has been annoyance or indifference.
Wait a second, that's it! I understand now. I know how to fix the spell.
Twilight, I think you already did. Well, this can simply only make things worse. Twilight finishes the ancient curse, and then the 5 other elements of harmony blast her into a small brown stain. Episode over. Sorry, kids, but was Twilight anyone's favorite anyway? Actually, it's just an ad break as we fade back into Twilight and Valhalla. It seems Princess Celestia also perished in glorious combat as she shows Twilight Sparkle a slideshow of all of her cringiest moments. It truly is a finale episode. And then she sings a song about her being ready for something.
To go where you will go, to see what you will see, to find what you will be, for it's time for you to fulfill your destiny.
Twilight Sparkle is resurrected by the power of being proud or something, but like any necromancer's spell, she is brought back different. With wings. Wow, I bet everyone who watched this episode as it aired loved that. Wings and a horn? There must be a name for this mythical creature. Just then, Celestia descends to explain to children 8 to 12 the hierarchy of pony living. Yeah, I have a question. If all equines have human-level intelligence, why are the cows still treated like livestock? The status quo has been changed. Every pony must now report to Twilight, which is really funny when you consider that the crux of the show used to be Twilight reporting her findings to Celestia, but they got tired of putting Twilight in episodes, so they changed the show to allow all of the characters to write to her. I guess in a way, this is a respectable decision. Maybe it would make Twilight an interesting character. Poindexter over here asks if there are any books she can read about her new job. And as much as I want to edit the glasses emoji over her, that's a pretty fair reaction to being thrust into royalty. I'm gonna do it anyway. What does she know about being a princess? Also, how many princesses can there even be at one time? If I were Cadence, I would be pissed.
The Princess Twilight cometh, behold, behold, a princess is before us, behold, behold.
Each one of you has taught me something about friendship. And one of you taught me a whole lot about apples for some reason. We even see a cameo from Twilight's brother, who she has uncomfortable life with Derek tension with. I think you could tell which writers, not even on the show, just in general, had siblings by the way they write them. Well, I guess that was the plot-altering season finale. I suppose there's only one thing left to do.
Take it away, fellas.
The final lines of this episode being everything's gonna be just fine are really funny when you consider the backlash to this decision. Uh-oh. And that was all I'm ever going to say about My Little Pony. I'm more likely to continue this show than I am Batman, but also, from what I've picked up on the resident pony experts I interviewed, the show kind of falls off after this moment, so I guess I can... Is everything okay back there?
Yes?
Are you sure? Because I can...
Do not come back here.
Okay, damn.
Just keep talking about the Christmas special where the origin of Christmas is created by socks.
I already talked about Minty. It was completely unrelated to the episode I chose. Oh well, the show must go on, so I can announce the award for Christmas special where the origin of Christmas is created by socks. Okay, seriously, how the fuck did they do that?
It's the most lowest tide of the year. With the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer.
Hey guys, I'm talking about it. The Chowder references were all a red herring. But first, I feel like I must explain. One of the rules I said earlier to constitute a musical episode is that the songs have to be original. And all the songs in this special are parodies of classic Christmas carols, if you even want to call them that. But it is my belief that this still counts as an animated musical episode. Also, Christmas ones are surprisingly harder to come by than you would think. I basically covered all of them last time. But I love Flapjack and wanted any excuse to be able to talk about it. Also, I didn't have enough time to do a full retrospective. Maybe someday. Flapjack already has such a pleasing aesthetic, but seeing the normally gray and grim Stormalong Harbor filled with snow instills some form of simultaneous joy and fear. The story of Low Tides Day is narrated by everyone's favorite owner of crabs, Lolly Poop Deck. I don't actually know how it's spelled, but Google autocorrected it as Lolly, L-O-L-I, which concerns me. Once a year, the tide low lower so low that nobody can see the bottom. Poster for the upcoming Low Tidings Day pageant crosses our dysfunctional found family. Flapjack is excited about the holiday he never gets to celebrate, while Bubby the Whale and Captain Knuckles take this as a warning to leave. Bubby needs to leave because she needs water to survive, and Knuckles wants to go with her because of mysterious other reason. It's unclear how long the family has been together, but their skirmish implies they've done this several times. Flapjack, the most musically inclined of the three. Flapjack the show actually has way more songs than I remember. Sings about wanting to experience Low Tides Day.
What goes on up there? Doesn't anyone care that I don't get to experience Low Tides Day, and I should, because maybe it'd be an adventure.
Listen, even without that one, it still has 3 songs, but I'm counting that one anyway. This almost song touches Bubby, as she allows Flapjack to experience his first Low Tidings Day and leaves Knuckles behind to watch over him. The first snowflake of the season sends the captain into a panic as he runs into a now decorated town to find his hiding spot.
I ain't Low Tides Day!
Happy Low Tides Day, fellas!
I ain't Peppermint Larry!
Young Flapjack shows concern, so Knuckles regales him with the story of his first Low Tides Day. They call it both Low Tidings and Low Tides. I'm just gonna alternate between the two. On Low Tidings Eve, all the children lower their boots into the water, and when the tide lowers in the morning, there shall be a present inside. A present gifted by Poseidon.
Low tidings boat, low tidings boat, Poseidon fill your with.
But unfortunately, because he's a bad person, young Knuckles didn't get any gift in his boot.
It was empty.
Oh, that's why you hide on Low Tides Day.
No, I hide from the 6 to 8 mermen who stuffed me in a sack. Why are you doing this?
So Knuckles must hide from those 6 to 8 mermen in his classic iconic hidey hole, but as it turns out, Slippery Pete has already taken his spot.
Got to find another hidey hole, oh. 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 Hidey hole, oh.
Hidey ho ho,
Hidey hole, oh.
hidey ho ho,
Hidey hole, oh.
hidey ho.
There's a lot of shows prior to this that I explained everything in detail, but like I'm assuming you know SpongeBob, even if you haven't seen Flapjack, I think it's better if I just assume you know what I'm talking about. It's not just the snow and the music that fits the mood. Even the mixed media screen transitions have Christmas aesthetic and jingle bells. I applaud a show that goes all out. The pure-hearted Flapjack has a plan. Knuckles doesn't have to run or hide. He just has to be a good enough person this year to get a present in his boot. But he's been awful for 360 or so days in this year. He's got a lot to make up for. I love a cartoon character who's just an unabashed bad person. Flapjack takes Knuckles to the candy barrel to apologize to Peppermint Larry. Also his candy wife. Man, not to sound like a boomer, but they really just don't make creepy looking cartoons anymore.
Hello, Knuckles. You have a lot of nerve coming in here.
You have a lot of nerve being alive.
And the captain does apologize for pushing him off a ladder earlier, and nothing else, but as soon as Larry turns his back, he admits to lying right to his face. So the two adventurers are gifted holiday cookies.
One for Flapjack.
It's shaped like a wreath.
And one for Knuckles.
It's shaped like a merman.
Which gets Peppermint Larry and Captain Knuckles in another screaming match.
It's no use.
I know I should be talking about the episode instead of just showing clips, but this video is going to be claimed anyway, and this double-length episode has so many good bits.
Joy to the world is good. If you're doing what you should, are you sure you're doing what you should? Are you sure you're doing what you should? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
I guess you can really tell how much I like an episode by how little I have to say about it. Also, that counts as a song, I think. Is this a musical at all? As it turns out, the little boy isn't crying because of Flapjack's awkward song, but rather because 2 kids caught the flu. Probably because of the obscene amount of snowflakes on screen. And now the Low Tides pageant cannot take place.
Yeah, because that would mean we've been waiting in line for 3 days. For no reason.
It's no joke. The pageant is cancelled.
Well, so much for my backstage
pieces!
How come I don't talk about this show all the time? This gives Flap an idea. The two of them could fill in for the missing children, as they're sick and have to miss. They aren't actually missing. This idea results in the teacher lady and poor Victorian child to bless the two of them. Knuckles realizes this plan could work. The pageant is hilarious, like most things in this show, with Flapjack filling the role of Poseidon and Knuckles getting typecasted as the bad child. One time at my very religious school, the students had to act out the Last Supper or the crucifixion or whatever, and the principal casted me as Judas, which was probably deserved. Knuckles is triggered by the appearance of children in the 6 to 8 merman costume, but they aren't strong enough to toss the quiet boy, so the audience joins in on the tossing, which causes Knuckles to snap.
He's got the strength of 10 quiet boys!
The pageant has been ruined by the man who has clearly never learned his yes-ands, but the captain is still oblivious. He actually goes to bed that night hopeful. As the snow fills storm along a harbor, the two adventurers lower their boots into the water, but Flapjack is not so sure. He's actually worried for his captain's well-being, but he's soon confronted by a familiar face.
Low tide stay star?
No, just Larry eavesdropping from afar.
Why are you dressed like that?
Huh? Oh, it's just this dumb idea I had to create a character who could personify the spirit of Low Tides Day. People could come into the candy barrel, sit on my knee, tell me what they want in their boot, maybe buy a piece of candy or two. I don't know. I guess nobody believes in clever marketing anymore.
Flapjack has one opportunity to ask the spirit of low tidings for anything he wants, but he decides to wish for Knuckles to get presents instead. Out of everything in the world, he just wants his captain to be safe. For those of you who haven't seen this show, or maybe you've just seen the clips, you may think it looks funny, but would get annoying pretty fast. There are a lot of shows out there with a similar abrasive character and grotesque situations, but most of them are missing that one thing that makes this show work. Flapjack. The child is so pure of heart that nothing in this awful town could ever corrupt his adventurous spirit. No wonder the creator of Adventure Time started on this show. Anyway, night turns into day as Lollipop Deck narrates that a Low Tides Day miracle could still happen, as a human-looking Poseidon figure lowers the tide. And by human-looking, I don't mean he looks like, I mean they painted a real guy. I love this show. I love animation, quite honestly. The excited townsfolk awake to check their boots for the Low Tidings Day present, where Knuckles checks his and...
It's empty. Hey, fellas.
But Flapjack thinks the best of his captain. He deduces that there's a hole in his boot, so his present must have just fallen out. He hugs Knuckles and takes a leap of faith off the dock. After abandoning his role as an impartial narrator because of the spirit of the holiday, Lollipop Deck gives up his bucket so the adventurers can float down safely. But the 6 to 8 mermen float down after them using their giant sack, but they can't move very well.
Hey, boys, wanna borrow these?
All it takes is a little taunting as the 6 to 8 mermen slap themselves together to create a form of Merman Voltron.
That's more than meets the eye.
That was a lot just then. Isn't this supposed to be a musical?
Gotta find Knuckles' present or it won't be pleasant, oh no. The ocean floor's shaking, it cracks, don't panic, let's go.
But the ticking clock is talking as the tide is slowly moving back. Poseidon has returned to gather up his children. Poseidon here is voiced by J.K. Simmons, but the painted body is played by a different person, and the whole thing gave me whiplash. Oh, I guess I probably shouldn't use a drum riff for the whiplash joke. It's like how in Star Wars they got a completely different British guy in the Vader suit and then dubbed over him with a classically trained actor turned talented voice actor. There's a lot of these. Anyway, because Flapjack has delayed the tide, Bubby has fallen off the flat plane of water, just like in real life. And Knuckles finds her losing her breath on the barren land, but he leaves her to die anyway. However, he accidentally helps splash water on Bubby to keep her alive, and he begins to understand what it means to be a good person. The nature of a show like Flapjack is that the status quo must remain. At the beginning of every new episode, we must keep the premise of Knuckles being a bad guy and Bubby and him fighting. But every now and then we get an episode where Knuckles reconciles this fact, or Bubby and him find an understanding with each other. And while we know it will inevitably be reset, it doesn't make it any less powerful and sweet. The mermen see this and go to help Bubby as well. Knuckles views this as finally being good enough to not get sacked, but...
You are a very good man.
Very good. I did it! I finally become a good person!
We're still gonna sack you, though.
What? Why?
You were good for like 5 minutes. You're still bad most of the time.
But because of this, all the bad people in town reveal themselves from their several hidey holes they're forced to reside in to avoid the mermen every year. Most of Stormalong is populated by bad people, so they greatly outnumber the 6 to 8 mermen and tie them up instantly.
Merman, why aren't you sacking those people?
Are you kidding? There's only 6 to 8 of us.
We didn't sign on for this.
I can't get sacked, Poseidon. I have a family.
The rules have always been, once you lower your boot into the water, if you're a good person, you'll get a little gift. And if you're bad, you'll get sacked by 6 to 8 mermen. We know this, we've been over this. I guess you could just not put your boot in the water. But I want my present. While Flapjack was on the seafloor, he used a leftover sack to pick up all the potential presents he could find. Initially to help Knuckles, but eventually started collecting them to give to all the people in hidey holes.
Let it be known from this day forth that giant sacks shall only be used for carrying presents, not for stuffing people into.
What about the boots?
People may still hang their boots and use them for smaller gifts, but from now on, your main present shall come from a giant sack, delivered by that guy.
Candy wife, did you hear that?
Huh. I guess it was a lot like Minty. In the end, Knuckles' present isn't something that can come in a box or wrapping paper. It's not getting sacked by 6 to 8 mermen, his hidey hole back, and the respect of Bubby for this episode, which is now over. Roll the special credits.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Well, we've already covered 2 Christmas special episodes. Was the last one kind of cheating? Sure, but it's my show. I already talked about 2 of the 3 most requested musical episodes in My Little Pony and Batman. They're not even really requests as much as they are just the most popular musical episodes. Like, if you look at Watch Mojo's most bestest musical episodes, they will be on the list.
We don't want to hear about a dumb children's show for dumb children.
We need more depth.
Well, I'm just happy to be here.
Hey, you guys can't talk to me like that. Which transitions perfectly into, I didn't finish enough Scrubs to talk about that episode. Aw, man.
Oh me, oh my, a lovely day is dawning. Oh, what a joy, I didn't wake up dead. So I can go to school and then resume my yawning. And get my sleep in class instead of in my bed.
I've always been a big 3 Kids Network kind of guy, maybe including The Hub and then obviously Adult Swim as well. All the Fox shows I never watched on the actual Fox channel, and TBS is all Friends reruns anyway. Not to make anyone here feel old, but MTV was a little before my time. I've only ever talked about that network in the context of hokey wrestling shows, which I intend to keep doing, but for a decent stint they did have one of the best rosters of animated shows, and at the top of that was, of course, Wonder Chosen. Sorry, Beavis and Butthead, but then they spun off into Daria, so that's close enough. In a weird way, so did Hank Hill. So I watched all of Daria seasons 1 and 2 for this video for the first time in my life. And like Batman and Pony, I do have a lot to say about the show as a whole. The difference here is that my thoughts on the show actually tie in perfectly to the musical episode itself. So it'd just be better to say what I feel in the context of this episode's structure. Because despite the show being named after its main character, a character who got so popular in a different show that she got her own spin-off, I find her the least interesting and entertaining out of the entire cast. That's not to say that she isn't either of those things, because I don't hate her, just compared to every other named character. She's my least favorite, I guess. Musical numbers are fun and all, but the nerds who properly understand musicals know that they are an expression of character. Which is why the opening song is sung by the family, excited for another day in suburbia, while Daria sings about how her life sucks or whatever.
Oh, that's great. The toast is cold. What tales of nothing will unfold here on this same old morning in the burbs.
I I've heard a lot of praise from this episode, but I was a little worried early on because once the kids get to school, the shallow characters are putting their heart and soul into singing, and all the characters Daria finds tolerable are just sing-talking. I thought we were gonna get the dreaded episode where the protagonist is like, why is everyone breaking into song? This is so silly and dumb. And in her potential defense, musicals are both of those things. But you can't make a musical episode if you're not earnest. If you half-ass it and turn up your nose, then nobody's happy. And I'll admit, like my feelings towards the characters, early on the show seemed like it was just an ivory tower to which Daria, the only smart child, can throw barbs down from. I understand the era in which this was made. There really wasn't anything like this show, which is why it meant so much to so many people. And I still think the institution of school is fucking stupid. It's dumb. But I used to be this character. I think a lot of people seem to miss that Daria is a teenager and thus not to be really idolized. Growing up is realizing that most people are popular because they're pleasant to be around, and jocks aren't inherently dumb. And even then, the dumb characters in the show aren't even mean. They don't bully anyone, they just aren't very smart, which is totally fine. The show has kind of had Daria reconcile with her antagonistic behavior before, so I thought this season 3 premise was going to go deep because the quote dumb or quote vapid characters are the only ones going full throttle into song.
X-Files says this is just the sneaky way the authorities create like a natural disaster thing to cover up the real reason the game's canceled. I mean, big game, big storm, coincidence? Well, we're not falling for their line.
I may be cringe and dumb, but I am free, Daria. But that's not exactly what happens. The song starts because there's a hurricane warning, and now the town must stay safe in their homes. So of course they all panic.
I've got a way to make you glad. We'll go off to some other place.
Hey, that's cool, babe. Let's go suck face.
You see what I mean? How am I supposed to hate this guy when he's belting out like this? My perception changes a little when Daria and her friend Jane actually begin to lean into the music, allowing the song to overtake them, like a deadly virus. But they still just kind of sing-talk about wanting the town to blow away, so witty and sardonic. What will this kooky kid say next? Before they can leave the roof, in an act of chivalry, Jake? I think his name is Jake, accidentally bumps a wooden door stopper out of place and traps him, his girlfriend, and the sardonic teens up on the roof of the school on the crux of a hurricane. In the eye of a hurricane. The song ends in a bombastic manner, marking the point where Daria and Jane stop fighting it and let the music move their emotions. Cut to bumper. I think we're on the cusp of a Buffy situation here, where the episode can't really be fully enjoyed if you haven't seen the rest of the show. Boy, am I glad I watched the first 2 seasons, because musicals are at their deepest level an emotional expression. That's why in musicals the characters transition from talking to song at the most dramatic points. It's not like Buffy in the sense that there's a meta-contextual reason why they're singing in the universe, but it's clear that the people working on this show understand the medium. This is a perfect opportunity because honestly we don't get to see or hear what Daria actually feels. We hear Garfield-esque quips from time to time, but never a declaration of feeling. Daria is so closed off from the world that she doesn't express her feelings, but through song, all is revealed. Perfect example, Daria's sister Quinn and her mother, the mom, I'm sure she has a name, but mom will do just fine. One sings about being addicted to shopping, while the other sings about being addicted to working, and through this harmony, we learn more about the characters. We figure that they're more similar than either of them know or let on.
A shrink would have a field day with my head
if he listened to the sentence I just said.
Obsessive kids and moms just might be ticking bombs.
So I'll keep it to myself instead.
Despite these little glimpses of something sweet, the family is dysfunctional. The next song we get is a rock throwback where the dad, overcome with rage, screams at people on the road.
Quit swearing like a drunkard and get right with the Lord.
We're a very moral family with a baby on board.
And I say, God damn it!
Oh me, oh my!
God damn it!
We hope that you die!
Everyone but Daria gets home safe, so the parents call the only other house they know she goes to, where they get on the line with Jane's brother Trent. You know Trent, black hair, plays guitar. Now wait a damn minute. Trent's really interesting because he's the only one who's ever been able to knock down Daria's tough exterior. She likes him, Jane knows this, he probably knows it too. And it's sweet seeing scenes with them together, despite her being 16 and him being 21. Okay, so it's like seeing Dale Cooper and Audrey in Twin Peaks. I like seeing them together, and I think the dynamic is sweet, but if he so much as touches her, it's over for everyone. Also, I'm sure there's community commentary in there somewhere. Speaking of which, the kids on the roof shuffle into a dingy little roof shack that every school has. You guys didn't hang out on your asbestos-ridden roof shacks while growing up? It was a rite of passage. More asbestos for me. But what I was getting at is that the sardonic barrier is dropped here for the growth of genuine concern.
Our families and friends, busy saving their rear ends, may have overlooked an absentine or two.
But by now they're catching on that too well-liked kids are gone.
Whatever you're paying this man, pay him even more. I already loved this character, but he just keeps putting his whole jocosy into this performance. Did you know that technically I get paid to write these scripts? In reality, I'm the judgy one. I thought the episode would be an edgy scoffing of musicals, but like the show itself, it does have a heart hidden underneath. Anyway, dad and mom fight over modern gender roles in the context of saving Daria. Somebody better call the mountain goats. Hey-oh, I hope I cut myself shaving tomorrow. I hope it bleeds all day long. I've been watching Moral Oral again, if you couldn't tell by the 2 jokes.
I can show that I care, I can cry, I can share, got my brain in a sensitive whirl. But please tell me why being such a modern guy makes me feel like a bearded girl. I guess that's now manly.
It's very funny, conceptually, for the 2 men to sing about how much they dislike talking about their feelings while breaking into song, which is arguably the biggest display of honest feelings. Why would I go to therapy when I could just sing at strangers on the street? I would be remiss if I didn't mention how the episode looked. Daria is a very dialogue-focused show, so up until this point, what people would call stilted animation hasn't been a problem. It just looks simultaneously funny and creepy when the characters quickly snap into place like a smiling Friends character. This isn't a critique, I just thought it looked funny. Meanwhile, the door to the dingy shack is stuck, and when the music cues back in, I thought we would hear a new song, but it's actually a continuation of the Manly song, but this time in the context of cheering on Jake. I'm pretty sure his name is Jake. They've been doing that a lot this episode, using the same song to give the multiple plots different verses until they converge. It transcends plots like a musical. Like a genie.
The big wet rainstorm's over, we're happy we're still here. The big wet rainstorm's over, the end came very near.
We didn't die with Brittany, instead we got to sit and see
Kevin's headache mightily.
Oh, babe.
The big wet rainstorm's over.
They keep describing the hurricane as a big wet rainstorm, which is technically true, I guess. If one person said it, it would be unnoticeable, but everyone? This town is a real problem. Also, the chill kids still don't really sing. What, you gotta be more chill? The Manly men crash their car into a tree because of how manly they are, but they do find Jane and Daria safe and sound and are relieved, which is touching not only to the audience, but to the girls as well. The 2 teens who believe that the world is uncaring and nothing matters actually mattered to the most closed-off members of their families. Trent, you better get your hands on. Even Quinn is relieved. Despite butting heads in nearly every episode, they're still sisters. The show may not be overly hilarious or add any meaningful social commentary beyond the 90s, which is totally fine. I'm sure it was groundbreaking at the time, and it isn't fair to judge it by modern conventions. The show gets by because of its heart. Like all the shows I was recommended for this video, it took me a while to get into them, but Daria might be worth finishing. Maybe.
Today was strange in extremes, and that's put lightly. And yet it started out so dull and pretty dumb. And so this feeling I feel, I don't feel slightly. It's the hope that tomorrow will come and another weird morning.
Yes, a dawning.
An exciting new day a-borning.
No need for a surgeon general's warning. Morning, morning, it's morning, morning, morning. In the
Excuse me. So I may have lied a little bit earlier. Daria isn't actually the only MTV animated show I've seen. There's actually one I talked about before. Do you see that? It's like I know something's there. Some presence, but I can't see it. That was... Sorry, I know I said no more distractions, but now I gotta present the award for... Actually, that's kind of rude that you guys interrupted me last time but didn't answer me when I... You know what? Whatever. Time to present the award for Time is a Flat Circle. These aren't even award titles.
This is my chance to finally get onto Hollywood's A-list.
This is my chance to make out with Joan in front of an audience.
This is my chance to be an undervalued production designer.
This is our chance to be famous uncredited background dancers.
The last time we held this ceremony, I talked about a number of properties. I talked about Total Drama, Adventure Time, Futurama, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Verse, Always Sunny. But this is 2023. Let's see what new things have come out. That's what I thought. For no reason in particular, just want to put this clip from the last award show here. What else is there to say? Great episode. Okay music. If they do another one in the reboot, I hope the songs are spread out more. I know people are upset about the idea of Chris Pratt playing Mario, and that makes sense, but the idea of a potential musical movie starring both Jack Black and Charlie Day, that sounds fantastic to me. Now, I know I had nothing to do with this happening, but I also know I had nothing to do with El Tigre getting a Nick Brawl too. I'm still gonna take credit for it. Also, killing Pibby, I guess. That's literally shooting the messenger. The Clone High reboot has been in development for a while now, and honestly, with the way Warner Bros. Was going, I didn't think it would ever actually come out. But then we got a trailer and an announced date, and the fear of it never coming out left, as a new fear entered the fray. Oh, what if it sucks? And these new designs didn't help. I know it's supposed to show the contrast between old teenagers and new teenagers, but they all look like Miku Binder Thomas Jefferson. Modern reboots have a stigma to them, but Total Drama would have been great if they just aired it weekly or at all in the West. Futurama had some good episodes, and I think Animaniacs deserves to exist solely off of the songs in the reboot alone. I'm that type of person. Couldn't save Hamster and Gretel though. I understand the burnout with reboots, like it's Ghostbusters again, and I understand the frustration in wanting to make new ideas, but it is my belief that cartoons can live forever. Like, imagine if Warner Bros. Were just like, we're done with Bugs Bunny, or Disney with The Michael. I've come full circle on Homer, Peter, and the Sponge. I don't watch any of these shows anymore, but I hope they outlive me. Because although it will be sad to watch these iconic actors give up the mantle, in the modern age, Bugs Bunny is a dynasty, and it's an honor bestowed on fresh talent. Everyone was really upset when Mario was recast the second time. Third time? We really are bringing everything full circle. But people don't last forever. Cartoons do. I will gladly take another Marvin the Martian movie over creepy corpse CG Carrie Fisher talking about hope or whatever. Get that shit off my screen. Go out and cast people. So, Clone High. I was worried about the new cast, the missing old cast, the general passage of time, but I forgot that these two dudes are very funny. I liked the first episode enough. I liked the second episode more. Then the third one kind of dropped off, and 4 attempted to pick it back up, while also picking up an original character they forgot to use at all, I guess. But then next week I saw the episode titled Some Talking But Mostly Songs. We are so back.
We'll go back to speaking all the dialogue.
The Clone Teens' favorite teen drama show, Tropical Hospital, is apparently scouting for non-union kids. and they're coming to their town soon. New student Harriet wants to put on Twister the Game the Musical, a musical about the game Twister and not the movie. And she wants JFK and Joan to be the leads because they already have such white hot sexual energy.
We are white and hot.
Oh yeah, Joan and JFK are like a thing this season. We'll get more into Abe's spot later. JFK is initially torn because he thinks a jock can't do theater, which if you've ever been to any high school show, you know is not true. They love putting himbos on stage. But Joan is then torn because she hates musicals, which perfectly transitions into the first musical number that I already showed a bunch. This is just the opening with clones singing around the school, but once the episode gets into motion, it officially becomes another musical about putting on a musical. Not only did I talk about Clone High 2 years ago, but I also talked about The Nightman Cometh, what I would say is probably the best musical episode about putting on a musical. There's not some magical force outside of the story that's making these clones break into song, like Pony or Daria, also no Neil Patrick Harris making them sing, or a peanut-headed child. This is in contrast with the previous musical installment of the show, where the musical just aided the plot. But that episode, off of the nature of starring Jack Black, was more of a rock opera, while this new episode is more show tune. It's not really related, but I do like the new theme. It's just the old theme with new lyrics, but goddamn, I like the new lyrics, sue me. The new superior advisor at the school takes issue with putting on a school musical, as she's afraid a Footloose situation might break out. So she puts Principal Scudworth on the case. Scudworth picks the weakest student to show his superior strength on, you lost me. Time for rehearsals! Joan sucks, literally and figuratively, as her kissing technique makes everyone uncomfortable. I mean, what can you expect from someone who, from her perspective, just started kissing? She did technically almost get with Cleo.
Ugh. I almost did it with Joan. Hot.
Joan still vouches for her friend Abe and gets him a role in the show. It's nice to see them acting like friends again, despite not really hanging out with each other this season. Alright, let's talk about it. I think it's important, specifically in the modern age, to not allow your writing to be influenced by what the internet is saying. If you're working on a show and you check Twitter every week to see what they think, you've lost the plot. But when the show is so far spread and been off the air for decades, it's nearly impossible to not hear the most vocal complaint. There was basically what boils down to a meme about how Abe was the real villain of the show and in general a bad guy. And I never really thought anything like that when I watched the show. I put it up there with the whole, oh, the kid from Home Alone is a real psychopath. Like, it's fun to talk and think about, but it's not true. I feel like this season they kind of overcorrected on everyone liking JFK and everyone getting upset with Abe acting like an oblivious teenager, because guess what? He was. And this would all be totally fine if they find a way to tie Abe into stories. And to be fair, sometimes they do, but other times they just kind of have him there. Joan and Abe are still friends, which is sweet, and he's not trying to jeopardize her first real relationship. And the worst part is, all of this could have been corrected if Abe just had a guy to hang out with. Let's say, yay high, maybe no hair, get a chin strap in there. I understand why you would want new characters to enhance the story, but your main character is the most hated in the school, and he's also not really doing anything. With all of that being said, I still can't bring myself to hate it because
the theater's in my blood, and my blood is sprayed all over the theater.
It's still so goddamn funny. I knew I wanted to talk about another episode that's a musical about putting on a musical. Home Movies and The Brack Show both got really close, but then this one fell right into my lap. Hey look, we got a group of background dancers made up of all the characters that don't have anything to do. One of which is an original main character, and another is one you created for this season. Dick-ass Abe flexes his dick-ass superiority on them, so what better time to get a song explaining the peanut gallery's feelings?
'Cause you got that white guy confidence that comes with lower levels of melanin. A life of systemic structural advantages can make you think you're amazing when you're average.
I don't know how far in advance they planned another musical episode in this reboot. You're welcome, by the way. But I like to think, and I know this isn't true, that they picked this new cast solely off of their singing ability, as they're the ones leading the songs, and they're fantastic. I mean, the new cast is made up by people like A.O., What a fucking year. Joan of Arc keeps running multiple ideas by Harriet, who is too nice to turn any of them down, thus warping her vision of the show. The one she does contest sends Joan into a self-hating spiral. You would think this is guilt-tripping, but have you seen the way she kisses? Her self-esteem is in the toilet. I know people in real life that would kiss the ground she walks on just to get a chance to talk to her. The background whatevers try to steal Abe's sweat to harness his unearned confidence. You've lost me again. While Scudworth stages a Jonathan Majors fight breakup to show the clones his superior intellect and strength. He may be lying, but his heart is in the right place. He's just trying to warn these children about the dangers of musical theater. I wish I had someone like this when I was young. Perfect example, Joan truly puts her soul into this project. It just so happens that her soul is all fucked up and weird. Harriet finally stands up for herself to fix her sexy, dumb show. On a show built on the back of being a parody of dumb teen dramas. Not to say that there aren't equally dumb modern teen dramas. It's nice to see a character that sees the value in dumb, schlocky fun, that has no substance and is stupid and dumb. I don't watch Power Slap to think. Nobody on the show is thinking. It boils over when they fight over JFK. Joan is out of the show and she wants to take her boyf with her, but Harriet needs him because he's apparently the only one doing a good job. I don't want my rant to get the wrong idea across. I miss Abe, but I still recognize JFK as the best character. Ironically, after what I just said, this show could actually benefit from Adaria. Boy, I sure hope things don't get any weirder than they are right now.
Vegas, baby!
Golden parachute! Storming the Capitol!
Eventually, everyone starts fighting because when your emotions get too strong to talk, you sing. When they get too strong to sing, you dance. And when they get too strong to dance, you beat the fuck out of each other.
I tried to be supportive, like the principal in High School Musical. But then you go all footloose, like in the film Can't Hardly Wait.
What is this, a BH Ultra video? Joan still believes she's in the right, but upon being compared to JFK and seeing a very heavy-handed quiche comparison...
I'd swim through a lake full of water for these cakes. That's the only thing that would put out the raging fire in my belly for these cakes.
That's an odd thing to say.
She also calls the gross quiche, and by extension her version of the play, flavorless and hard to swallow. And actually, I'm gonna defend Joan here. Hard to swallow, sure, but not flavorless. It's just a flavor people don't normally want. That's where we get the term acquired taste. I do understand wanting to turn your brain off and consume slop when it comes to shitty reality shows, but I can't stand when people extend that to actual television. Oh man, when did The Boys get so political? When the show fucking started, man. Whose side am I even on here? Another new character, Frida, tells the dancing extras that they can't have unearned confidence. They need to practice. Not because practice makes perfect, but because practice makes progress. That's actually a really sweet and fantastic point. Who are you guys again? In a huge public display, Joan both apologized to Harriet and shows how sorry she is by getting everyone to put on the play she always wanted. She realizes she was never a good fit for Right Hand on Blue. But Harriet is. Evidently, this means her character has to kiss JFK's character, which Joan assures them is fine because it's just their characters. And she says she doesn't like musicals.
My heart only belongs to you, as do my lips. And my unmentionables, which I'll mention now. My penis, my testicles, my area between my penis and my testicles.
The rest of most of the episode is the actual show. Abe nails his lines, like always, and the background dancers do the part of the dance they bothered to remember. Well, it seems like everyone's plots for this episode are wrapping up. Let's see where this show goes.
I've never kissed anyone who is quite like you, but my heart is telling me to plant my upper and lower lips on blue.
My heart is in a twister.
Although I have been pretty hard on the reboot, or maybe just this stint of episodes, but I think something they do better than the original are the guest stars. As cool as Jack Black and Marilyn... Oh, fuck. As cool as real musicians are, I really love the bit of every very special guest being some guy. Either a washed sitcom star or an old basketball coach. It's not as musical, but it's much, much funnier.
Harriet, you do have a future in showbiz, but that future is not now, which is the present. But before you know it, your present will be your past, and the future will be your present. And that's when you'll be in Hollywood.
I now see why you do sports and not writing, sir.
Thank you. Now, I can't give you a part on Tropical Hospital because, well, we were looking for someone with white guy confidence. So I cast Tom Hiddleston.
Hiddleston. The Grassy Knoll, the diner all the teens hang out at, which is either a comedy premise or a self-aware parody of teen dramas who do the same thing, but I can't tell. Like that one show I can't put my finger on. It's December. It burns to the ground as love burns between Joan's new best friend Harriet and her boyfriend JFK after their life-changing kiss. Then the music swells as the curtain closes on the two awkward lovers. Oh my god, this is the Buffy musical. I apologize for everything I said about Buffy. It's now occurred to me that all these musical episodes are Buffy all the way down. So, you guys are gonna hate what I'm about to say. While I do think the new series has had some misfires, while still being really funny, and Jack Black is one of like the 5 artists I listen to, I exclusively listen to what everyone around me calls hoe-scaring music. I believe that while not a better show, maybe not a better episode, the newer one is a better musical episode. I'm still unsure on whether I should rank all of these episodes within 2023 at the end of this, or if I should add them all to the previous ceremony's rankings. I have the same feelings about the Bob's Burgers movie. It's a good movie, but it's a pretty shitty musical. But this video isn't about musical movies. One of the main rules is that it must be normal television length. But what if I broke that rule? Garfield heads must be seething right now. We talked about MTV a lot just now, but you know what other channel offered unorthodox adult animation geared towards teens in the 2000s? G4 TV. It seems since the last time we've held this ceremony, G4 TV has returned to cable television, and then also died in the meantime. It's not just cartoons. A reboot lived and died in the time it took me to make this. G4 would offer content focused on gaming culture and video games as a whole. Some were cringy, some are charming in a mid-2000s way. God, this is so Y2K
But
core.
underneath the glitz and thundering music, companies at this year's E3 show were sensitive to the criticism spawned by the shooting at the Colorado high school.
Excuse me? While the program doesn't hold up nearly as well, it would be a mistake to not shed light on the impact it had on the internet as a whole. Early internet projects like Cinemassacre, Screw Attack, Inside Gaming all owe their existence to G4 programming. If you follow the family tree downward, we can even see flashes of our most recent entertaining modern gamers. So they thought 2021 was the perfect time to bring this channel back, to show modern gamers that they may be old, but they're not dead yet anymore. Most of their detractors and peoples whose memory goes back farther than 5 minutes predicted this would end horribly, as G4 died in the first place because of content on the internet and its refusal to adapt. And while all the modern content I've seen from them has been clips from Germa fan cams, I'm sure these new shows had their own dedicated fans. I wanted to do more research beyond it just being a bad idea, like what factually went wrong, but all I could find were videos that said, look at this SJW having a public meltdown about sexism. Anita Sarkeesian has truly struck again. So I'm going to trust none of those, but I'm more interested in what they were airing on TV. While cable is dying off faster and faster in the 20s, I think it's cool to check in on what forms of branding and blocks they're trying to compete with the internet, only to find out that they landed on just airing internet content on television. I love watching the new episode of The Owl House, only to be interrupted with commercials of year-old Markiplier moments. And while cable TV is still technically a dying medium, it's still cool whenever a YouTuber makes that crossover. It seems more and more on this website that everyone is always at each other's throats or trying to expose one another, when I think we should celebrate these accolades, no matter how bad Lily Singh's show was. For those of you who may be picking up what I'm putting down, I'm talking about G4 airing YouTubers' content. You may have some questions. Did this special air on cable television? Well, no, but the average episode length for these YouTube videos turned TV episodes were about an hour, as is this special. But if that doesn't do it for you, all I can tell you is, it's my video, and I want to talk about a YouTuber who managed to pull off a musical episode. Which brings us the award for the only thing G4 Reboot gave us. That's so epic.
I shouldn't dwell.
I've got no sex to sell. Take them all and distribute them, and you're spreading we play. It's a swell, these extra copies, extra ban you from hell. I've got a fling smash to play every single day. Stupid Nintendo game.
That's right, I'm interrupting this cartoon video to talk about a Scott the Woz video because I love this idea. I've always loved this idea. I've always envisioned myself making a Natter Chamber musical episode, but this dude actually did it. How many other YouTubers do you know that have done a review or video essay with multiple musical numbers? So I may have misread the script, but you know what they say. The review must go on. I thought I would really have to scramble to throw this fit together, only come to find out that I'm already basically dressed like the Nostalgia Critic. I just needed the hat. Scott the Woz in Borderline Forever marked the 200th episode in the Scott the Woz franchise, and this isn't your normal everyday video. It is a goddamn production. The opening credits make that abundantly clear. And let me tell you, this isn't just a YouTuber talking over some songs. They got a little something called a motif. Composers Garrett Williamson and Nicholas Carr, masters of their craft who deserve just as much recognition, managed to make music that not only fits the scene but also implements what was originally the theme affiliated with Scott the Woz, Breakout. The episode opens with an instructional video played on a VHS tape. Analog horror has kind of been a double-edged sword, where some of it's kind of fun, but as someone who actually finds the static quite pleasing, it's annoying to see everyone refer to it as analog horror-esque. Scott breaks down every game review, if not every YouTube video to its core, while a bunch of other YouTubers watch intently. Why am I praising this? This is just another cheap tactic to pop the boys. You'd never catch me giving a bunch of other people cameos in my video.
You truly play video games if you can say f about them. And if you aren't willing to say f uncensored, get the f out of here.
Duly noted. Alright, that's enough showing respect to your contemporaries and bringing others along with you in funny moments. Give me the music!
But it's their loss, for they got no spare time to waste. This is something I know we should all embrace. I'm on a quest.
I may not have watched every episode in a row leading up to this video, but I have seen all the episodes prior. I've already talked about the attention to detail in the music, but what about the set design? There's references to previous episodes all over the place. He even name drops Fat Tuesday. I'm more of a Come Tuesday guy myself. We see the cavalcade of Scott's characters at his door and the breakdown of the song. I mean, we got classics like Vegan, Target Employee, Celibacy, Gex the Gecko. I'm not being ironic. These guys are iconic in their own right. I've seen actual TV shows with less likable casts. Oh wait, sorry, I forgot. For this to work, it does have to count as a TV show. I retract my statement. Stupid NES games like River City Ransom, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, Mario 2. Fun little fact about Mario 2 you might not know. Did you know that this game is actually just a reskin of a Japanese-only game? Mario 2 The Lost Levels? Even Where's Waldo? Finally, I have an excuse to talk about the musical video. Again, my mother warned me. Not just the NES, but the Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, and Advanced GameCube, DS, Wii, 3DS. The other one. Oh shit, Scott the Woz, Wii U. And halfway through, we get our call to action, crossing the threshold and the act break.
It's me.
I know a lot of me.
You have to remember that all of this was done by a YouTuber, and yet it still has more love and care than most shows I've talked about. Multiple sets, costumes, and location changes. Even the chroma key backgrounds are stop motion. Again, if this was a TV show, which I guess we might be counting it as, but I'm gonna break my own rule anyway, it would go unnoticed. But YouTuber Funny Man did this. Even little details like the omniscient blue border the special revolves around. Or I guess it revolves around the special, slowly growing throughout the second act. Speaking of things this YouTube video does better than some TV shows.
It starts off the same for every week and ends with a game on PS3. Pick something right out of the drawer, then hold it up against the floor. Spew some junk about no sex, then a vegan comes just to say gex. At the desk look like a hoarder, surrounded by some big blue border.
Earlier I said that I like the more musical soundtracks of the new Clone High episode over the rock sounding songs of the old one. one, but that doesn't mean I dislike the genre. I mean, you guys saw my most listened to artists. I'm starting to realize that I just might not really like that episode. Hey look, they referenced the 100 Scots Synced Up video. What a classic. I think I should rephrase what I said earlier. I love practical effects. You guys know this about me. But I think they work like a horseshoe, where the best looking ones are unobtrusive and the lower budget ones are charming. Right in the middle of that is Attack of the Clones. The fact that this is clearly just the same room, just decorated to look like a hospital. I love low budget films on YouTube. We need to bring these back. The rest of our classic cast comes back together at the hospital. And ironically, I'm trying to show you the least amount of clips despite this being the only one to not get copyright claimed. This video ain't making any money. I don't know how you could be here if you haven't seen Borderline Forever, or any Scott for that matter. You wouldn't think it from the video game show, but the dialogue in this show, and yes, it is a show, is top notch.
We've got to alert the officials! So, welcome to being f***ed.
So that's what it feels like. The team find common ground over the fear of the blue border closing in, so they split up to spread the word. Yeah, okay, buddy, that's clearly just a red curtain you threw up on a wall. Amateur hour. Now, if you excuse me. Actually, never mind. Scott goes on hit live show Throats for Thought, hosted by this guy. I know his face. I just can't for the life of me put my finger on who. Does anyone know his name? Or preferably his address?
Wait, what?
Apparently YouTube headquarters just sent me an award, and all I had to do was break the law.
Listen, Hector, heck, may I call you Hell?
May I call you f***?
There's this thing that happened with Invader Zim and to a lesser extent Adventure Time, where the show was groundbreaking at the time, but ever since the whole lulz so random bit has been drove into the ground and memed to shit, you kind of have to watch the show in a bubble. All that to say, in the year 2023, from here on out, Scott the Woz is the only one allowed to make Ohio jokes from here on out, alright? You guys ruined it. It's not funny any... Huh? This time I got an award from Twitch. Kai Sanat, Rizzes Up Yet, Phantom Tax. I'd like to thank Jesus. Like, who does this guy think he is? We see even more YouTubers getting suffocated by this ever-growing border, technically making Lin Cara the man who's appeared in the most musical YouTube videos. Try whipping that one out of bar trivia. It's up to Team Fucked to save the day, and if I wanted to avoid showing as much content so that you would seek it out yourself, and I could hypothetically only use one snippet to show you everything I love about this episode, it would be now.
Step and unite, our strength combined can take the fight, because it's up to us, and with some luck we'll watch the border's demise. And if unaware before, prepare yourself, cause this is war. There's not much time before we incline level borderline.
Musical sets, practical props, funny lyrics, fucking band kid belting out crazy style. I can't tell you how many times I've watched specifically this part over and over. They built this. This set was labored over, and although they didn't actually stack hundreds of Wii games, I'll never forgive them. And then the blast-off jingle uses the motif from the song they just played. YouTubers did this.
This atmosphere! Hello, please? Yeah. Yeah, that's space.
You don't think the whole YouTuber piloting a spaceship to review games or cartoons is a little overdone? God, I hope not, or else I'd be out of a job. But Team Fucked's ship is confronted by Brett Favre, and they have to fight off the Green Bay Packers.
Guys, I know we're trying to mitigate our tropes here, but we can't let it affect who we are. The only way we're gonna win here is by being the best us we can be.
There's one thing I hate more than the Green Bay Packers. It's sex.
Honestly, deep down, I've always felt like I've been a Wendy's employee.
Well, I've always been a vegan.
I haven't.
Is that a gun?
No. It's Gex.
Now I know how all those Kickassia fans felt. I think it would have been more impactful if I wasn't wearing this, but they're all saved by Brett Favre's longtime space rival, Vince Young. Team Fucked has to land on the blue space border, and while it is clearly in front of a green screen, the background has its own artistic merits. Scott takes down the border with a bunch of copies of Madden. This truly is the modern-day Scott Pilgrim. Oh, there already is a modern day Scott Pilgrim. Well, this Scott makes the ultimate sacrifice in hosting the border so that it may not affect anyone else's life or grow too powerful. And gaming YouTubers all over the world are safe. Thank God. And now, I still don't know if it's reprise or reprise. I wrote both of them exactly the same in my script, and I still knew what I meant.
We save the world from a blue border world. I just have to live with it for the whole rest of my days. It's a lot, but you've been taught this thing is worse than you thought. But there's one small thing that makes it all okay. Stupid Nintendo. Stupid Nintendo game.
You know something is truly fantastic and transcendent when it manages to change the prevailing opinion of an entire medium. I don't actually dislike The Critic, I just wanted to do this visual gag, but it's a solid comparison. The internet at large have critiqued the invasive use of characters and plot lines in what was supposed to be a movie review, making every appearance of lore in a video immediately cringe due to the comparison. And while I agree there's a conversation to be had about balancing the two of them, I don't think YouTubers telling stories and having side characters is intrinsically awful. My favorite Scott the Woz video of all time doesn't have anything to do with the video game. It's just a court proceeding. This dude managed to make people watch sketch comedy on YouTube in 2020. If you asked me what my favorite video was when I was like 15, I would tell you it's green and pink morph suits rolling around a field, and then I would dump the entire lore on you. I'm not just talking about this episode because it's funny or musically packed. I'm talking about it to show you that YouTuber lore can be fun if done correctly. Also sparingly.
I disagree.
Your arm is missing.
Hold that thought.
He's ruining this video. I don't even feel bad. I do feel a little bad. I do miss him being out here, though. What was I talking about? Practical effects.
It's punishing us.
Didn't you used to have a guy inside you? Like, yay short. He looked 40 years old. That was weird. Man, puppets are creepy. So, boy, am I glad that's over. I always feel so awkward talking about other YouTubers. Not because I don't think they can't make fantastic stuff. It just feels so distant from television. I gave that one a pass because it's the only show to successfully transition into a TV show. Anyway, presenting the award for the only other show to successfully transition into a TV show. You know, I did actually expect that one.
Memories of his overcoat, something he wore when he went outside. Memories of me going outside, all by myself for a walk outside. Memories of me finding the shovel that we left outside. Memories help me remember him, the things he did, the life we lived. Memories help me remember him, things he did, the life we lived.
Okay, so since we're in the sharing circle, one thing about me is after being afraid of everything as a small child, I got really into YouTube horror in my preteens. Despite loving Christmas more than every holiday, as you can tell, I am a spooky bitch at heart. I could talk about these legends for hours, and I will. July 29th, 2011, the soon-to-be viral sensation Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is uploaded to YouTube, where it now sits at 76 million views. We don't know a whole lot about this project, but it's likely it was meant to be a one-off, and the team never expected the video to take off the way it did. Because of this, 2014 started off with the second episode, Time, starring this clock fellow singing a song about time, and was posted to the channel, along with 2 Kickstarter videos only 2 months later. And 2014 would end off on Halloween with episode 3, starring this bug guy singing a song about love. People talk about the early 2010s in creepypasta or the modern age of mascot horror, but 2014 was kind of popping off when it came to internet horror. Too Many Cooks was uploaded 1 week after Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 3. March 2015, episode 4 was posted on YouTube and starred this computery guy singing a song about internet safety. Every new episode was a huge event. These installments barely capped out at an average 5 minutes each, and yet the fans grasped at every straw they could, theorizing on what the overarching plot could be, giving these characters agreed upon names despite never being stated. Where the fuck did Harry come from? Attributing characteristics to all the main ones and teachers, despite them showing very little. Basically, the internet was creating lovable and iconic people out of plot-serving characters just there to ask questions and be victims. That's not to say that these weren't fantastic videos, because they were. I repeat myself, but the fact that YouTubers managed to do this for YouTube, we just don't really see things like this anymore. Probably because YouTube would shoot you out of a cannon if they saw even a drop of blood. I understand the purpose of content warnings. I really do. But that kind of ruins the whole point. The original video was meant to be shocking. Kids watching creepy internet videos wasn't a dystopian nightmare. It was a rite of passage, damn it. I'm pretty certain I'm gonna cut out the whole pony rant I went on before, so this is probably out of context. While we're complaining, the series officially starts at episode 2, where they continued through episode 8. I've seen so many theory videos that try and fit this first episode in the story somewhere, when it was never the intention. The first Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared wasn't made to say anything. It was made to be creepy and shocking, but that doesn't give it any less value as a piece of media. This happens a lot in the internet horror sphere, actually. Too Many Cooks isn't about consumerism or rapid syndication. It's about, oh, wouldn't it be fucked up if this happened? The initial crux was just, what if this thing commonly associated with children was creepy, and now we must constantly suffer the consequences of opening up Pandora's box. October 2015, episode 5, starring this meat man singing about healthy foods, while something sinister starts to seep through. And then June 19th, 2016, Father's Day. I remember exactly where I was when this was uploaded. Not with my father, I can tell you that much. While we do get the appearance of our classic singing teacher, we mostly cut to the red guy in the real world. Due to his little character moments in the YouTube series, and thus the fandom running with it, he's normally attributed with jaded cynicism, but here, in what looks like the real world, he is an outcast for his ideas. In the end, the yellow guy is saved as the red guy literally and figuratively pulls the plug, thus resetting the show and moving the time forward, no longer stuck in the antiquated ways of the past. So we've seen this YouTube show master the art of individual quality episodes while sneaking in sprinkles of something more serialized. Like a show. September 13th, 2018, a new teaser is posted to the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared YouTube channel titled Wakey Wakey. In collaboration with Super Deluxe, Blink Industries, and Conan O'Brien's production company Conoco. Unfortunately, the video is no longer up on the channel, so the only footage I could find were from other sources covering it, laying out their own theories on what this new show could be.
You see, it's my theory that this new season is going to be about the current political situation in America. The duck is Donald Trump.
Alright. We weren't exactly clear on what this meant or even where it would air if it did. I mean, in the meantime, the creators of the series worked on a Gumball episode, so it's not out of their wheelhouse. The pilot for this version of the series, set in Clay Hill, was screened at the 2019 Sundance Film Festival and was never revealed to the general public, making it the only thing scarier than blood and monsters. Lost media. Ooh. It's like jingling keys. All we need now is a VHS filter and we're golden. The only way to watch this original pilot, in theory, is if a very excited fan recorded most of it on their phone, sent it out to people they knew, to where the pilot was recobbled and put on a Google Drive where some teenager could watch it dozens of times. And I'm not saying I did that, because that would be bad. I am saying it's not lost media, because I have it dedicated to memory. Whenever I would listen to the soundtrack, I would listen to the crisp digital releases of the songs, along with the wakey wakey opening from the pilot with shaky cam and people reacting loudly in the background. Years passed and nothing ever came of this pilot. But from what I remember, it was good, it was funny, but was it a good pitch? Because I love Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, but those videos never broke 10 minutes, much less 22. Is it even possible for DHMIS to work as a full-length TV show? July 7th, 2020, after lengthy production hell, the British Channel 4 announced they would pick up the series as it apparently wrapped filming in September 2021. A year later, in September 2022, the series was set to be released, but it was delayed by the death of the real-life queen. See, I told you I would cover everything that happened between the last ceremony and now. The lockdowns have ended, by the way. Or so I've heard. But the episodes were exclusive to this British service with no international release in sight, so how was a newly christened 21-year-old to watch them? Damn, it's the Google Drive again! I admit nothing, and guys, oh my god. I thought there would be some growing pains, but they adapted perfectly. The original videos were always kind of funny, utilizing that classic UK dry wit, so they pivoted to make this show more of a comedy with dark undertones. We still have the eerie feeling and overarching mystery that will be expounded upon in hopefully a greenlit season 2. Except this time, the puppets actually have distinct characteristics and personalities. Like, I know in your speed draw you called the duck the fun one, but in the YouTube show they're more or less the same. The highest praise I can give this show is that it came out the same year as Smiling Friends, and it was legitimately difficult to pick my favorite show of the year. Watch it, if you can. I wouldn't know how you would do that. The internet's a pretty dangerous place. Stay safe out there and don't look the episodes up on youtube.com. Which brings us to the opening of today's episode, Death. It's about death.
And every day we all hang out to find out what we talk about.
I'm a talking crow-like thing.
And I am red and made of string.
And I'm a yellow pig.
The three of them sit in their iconic chairs in their iconic sitting room as the duck learns from the newspaper that he is, in fact, dead. While the yellow guy tries his best to be supportive, the red thing is clearly jealous. He believes he's the one that deserves to be dead.
Yeah, you don't even know what it is, so why would I be jealous?
Yes, I do. As far back as I can remember. I always knew I deserved to be dead.
Just, I'm more the kind of guy that would be dead.
A clump of some organ drops out of the duck and rolls towards the middle of the room, when a sick stop-motion animation plays of blood seeping into the floorboards as they morph and creak into today's lovely little character, this guy, shaped like a coffin. This wooden fellow makes himself at home and tries to lighten the mood before setting his attention on the dead one, which would be helpful if any of these guys cared about this at all. It's clear they don't understand what death is, but that's what he's here to help them through. First, they need to ensure he's truly dead by doing many things, like checking the ID card, for example.
Hey, it's you!
Yeah, listen, I just want to check something.
I get it. You want to learn all about your identity. Who you are.
No, I was more hoping that I was dead.
What? Don't be silly. You don't die for ages.
Aww.
You die in the lake.
Huh?
I think you drown. Or step in water.
Yeah, whatever. Back in your cupboard.
The coffin lets our boys know that it's time for the funeral, and the only way to prepare is through song.
Putting my card in the envelope.
Washing up plates in the kitchen sink.
First you heat up the margarine.
Make sure you're using fresh minced beef.
Then you need to get the pastry dish.
And add a little bit more margarine. We gotta get things ready for the big day.
Huh? What are we doing?
Oh no, it's the funeral. It's the funeral, sorry.
I promise the song is longer than this, I just really like that bit. I guess I didn't really talk about the intrinsic musicality of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. The original series basically were just elongated music videos with lore. They all revolved around the songs. And while the TV show did a lot to shake things up and adapt, I'm glad they still kept the one song minimum. I mean, even the Gumball episode has a song. God, I wish Gumball did a proper musical. I picked this episode because it exceeds that minimum by a lot. And by a lot, I mean threefold. Fourfold? 3.5, let's move on. The duck has prepared for the funeral. He's had his organs removed and he's in position to be buried.
Why does it say David?
Huh? That's his name. He's David.
What? That's supposed to be your name.
What's his name?
What, the stone? It doesn't have a name, it's a stone.
Right, this is very confusing. Change it to my name then.
Well, I can't now. It's already engraved. I can't unchisel it, can I?
Why not? I know. Why don't you write David's name on me?
Okay, let's crack on, shall we?
The best friend must speak for his fallen brethren, and the duck makes a big deal about it being Big Red. I don't know if you know this, but people actually get very heated about which of these puppets is dating which. So a podium appears before him, because nothing beats that feeling of genuine wood. For anyone who thinks this is an elaborate effect, This took me hours to build. This show, this episode, this concept is really funny. At every turn, the characters don't talk like normal people and make a mockery of the whole ceremony. But what makes this show, and even the YouTube videos by extension, so great is the way it tackles complex issues. The graveyard scene is funny and silly, but the following use the strange and fantastic world they live in to vocalize how uncomfortable a death can be. The yellow kid waits in his iconic chair for his friend to come back, and his red buddy, confusingly in his own right, has to explain that he's not coming back. He lives in the hole now. The kitchen is filled with people this Felt family has never interacted with, pretending they're so broken up and that they knew David so well, but he wasn't called David. They keep repeating how hard this must be and how much they all miss David, but he wasn't called David. They almost immediately funnel out and gift the primary colors a kit to make a new friend. This is the way things work. The funeral is over. You guys can move on already. But they didn't know him like these guys did. They knew David. It is funny, but it's also the most realistic depiction of a close death and following funeral I've ever seen. People will come up to you and tell you how brave you're being and how now you can heal, but your friend is gone. Forever. Doesn't matter if he's just a prop. Wait, no.
What do you think happens when we die? Do we ever come back?
Well, I guess nobody really knows. Some people think we go to a new place, like a paradise. And some people think we even come back as our favorite animal or object. Wow.
Object.
But me, well, something tells me that when we die, we go into the center of the earth. Well, it's not quite the center. It's in between the core and the surface. And we must relive our lives, but as a performance for a new super race known as the Council. And every time you get it right, you get £1.
But what?
I need to go to sleep now. Good night.
Pop quiz, what 2 things did I mention I loved earlier?
When someone goes away, the world is... Ugh. Claymation.
The glob of matter, or flesh, just born into existence, easily slides right into becoming one of the main guys. Red Mass is ready to move forward with his life, but the yellow pig objects.
Hang on, this thing? One of the guys?
Yeah, one of the main 3 guys around.
There's 3 of us. Wait. 3 of us. Look closely, you will see. There's 3 of us. That's not here. There's 3 of us. Hold on, stop it. No, that's not here. And you and me. No, not that thing.
Yeah, it's basically the same. 3 of us.
Just a blob.
3 of us.
I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but I'm not counting this as a song. Does anyone other than me actually care about the rules? Speaking of rules, the duck, who's still up and about, isn't really getting the whole death thing. He's doing it all wrong, which is starting to bore him and annoy the wooden boy. While back at the house, the forever boy is simultaneously learning how to talk and the point of existence through a stop-motion musical sequence. Truly, this is everything I could have wanted.
Sky is blue and the ocean is too. And when the world spins round, you can see the moon. There's a million stars inside this grain of sand, and there's still so much we don't understand. So much. Like you really built the pyramid. People.
While Stain the Forever Boy is excited to slot right into the duck's place, Yellow Fellow is greatly upset by this. I mean, he just died. Didn't he? If we're keeping with the death in the family interpretation, we get 3 unique perspectives. A new guy not getting their jokes and stumbling across a sour spot that the main ones react differently to in their own right. Yellow won't stop talking about his long-gone friend, while Red tries to prevent Stain from looking at it. It's an interesting development whenever you think about this concept. And then it cuts back to Trump annoying the Covens.
Move on to what?
Well, when somebody goes away, they tend to... Ow! What are you doing?
Just keeping track of time.
But we've only been here for half a day.
I'm doing it in seconds.
What? We've obviously been here for more than 5 seconds.
Have we? Oh.
Stop it! What's that smell?
Oh yes, turns out I did need the toilet actually, quite a lot. Maybe that's what the tally was for.
The other songs have been characters introducing themselves or forced upon the cast, but now, for the first time in this episode, and maybe in the series as a whole, other than literally getting up on stage, the boys sing about their feelings. They're both using their memories, but Yellow is using it to grieve, while Red is doing it to replicate his old friend, to fill that slot.
Memories of him standing here, I can still hear his voice in my ear. Memories of him talking to me, he told me about the military.
Invincible.
That is something Donald would say. I showed the clip earlier because I thought it would make a spooky transition, but as the boys' song gets more and more somber, the music switches to this eerie whine before he sends his shovel through the coffin's face to rescue his friend. Only problem is, Red Guy has already transformed Stain into a nearly perfect copy of the duck. What are they gonna do with 2 ducks?
But there's only supposed to be 3 of us.
Well, now there's 4 of us.
There's 4 of us. There's 4 of us. Look closely, you will see. There's 4 of us. Just 4 of us. There's him and you and me.
And me.
And every day we all hang out to find out what we talk about. Sometimes we have too much fun. We have to go to bed.
Actually, no. 4 doesn't work. There's 3 of us.
Despite switching to TV, the show hasn't lost its edge. The Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared TV show is not only fantastic, it's a testament to what creators from the internet can do. A couple months back in the Adult Swim Pilots video, I talked about 1, how YouTube's AdSense system changed, which caused YouTubers who normally avoided cable television to pivot towards it, and 2, by extension, shows created by YouTubers for YouTube. While having a show on TV like Smiling Friends or YOLO is really cool, maybe it's just the home field bias, but it warms my heart to see proper shows on this platform. And I'm not talking about YouTube Red, I'm talking about why does everyone want to fuck the rabbit? I think I downloaded the wrong version. Mine has like an anime boy in the corner for some reason. You can call it cringe all you want, but I really like when a fandom is formed around indie animation. Those nerds love theories and lore.
That's true, people do love that.
Listen, I'm not even gonna thinly veil this one. Cards on the table, I struggled to find a 12th episode for this special, and then this musical episode dropped while I was writing this, and I got really into this show. I really want to talk about, wouldn't it be so fricked up if demons swore and had sex? Well, that's reductive. Despite constantly gushing about animation and YouTube, I never really talk about animation on YouTube. But first, we have some ground to cover. And by some, I mean, the year is 2009. Shit. The age of running characters and one-off skits, but very few shows, except for my beloved. Blossoming YouTuber Brandon Rogers got some notoriety from his grandpa character, but what I'm more focused on, and what few people actually talk about, is his short-lived series titled Theater Class. As a child, I found this series hilarious and even heartwarming at times. But the issue with seeing a genre's contemporaries before seeing what they take after is that you don't know where these ideas come from. It's The Office. You know the television show The Office? It's that. That's not to say that every mockumentary is copying The Office, but like, it's a theater class. Why are they doing talking heads? That's why I never understood the appeal of Modern Family. Who is interviewing these teenage girls? Theater Class is more about an abrasive leader learning to open his heart up to those who work for him. But even that show was soon forgotten beneath his connected web of other edgy internet characters. I don't want to make assumptions about people I don't know and have never met, but it's clear that The Office inspired his work in many ways. At least that's what I saw. It's just a shame. If only we could get this Michael Scott archetype, a lonely boss who treats his employees like family because he's lonely and feels like he's being used as a novelty by a significant other. What if we could make him a demon? And also a cartoon. 2015, a fan-animated music video for the Kesha song Die Young was posted to YouTube by animator VivziePop. And then 4 years of speed draws later, she uploaded her original animated pilot to the response of millions of views. It spawned fan art and songs, and then covers of those songs, and then fan art drawn to those covers of said songs. This project, this by all accounts gorgeous project was made entirely by freelance animators, funded mostly by Patreon. It even drew the attention of indie film distributor A24, who soon picked the indie pilot up to make it into a television series. It would be years before we would hear anything else from this pilot, but there were so many new clamoring fans. What's an animator to do? Remember earlier when I said it was strange that Michael Cusack and Justin Roiland basically created the same show they're currently working on for a different service? Well, we have a show about demons in hell that kill people on occasion, and also have/talk about sex, but we can no longer capitalize on this hype. What if we did that again? At least that's what it seemed like on the surface, but if you look under the hood, you see something greater at play. While it does air exclusively on Vivzi's channel, it's a collaboration with funny grandpa guy Brandon Rogers, and while he didn't create or write for the show, legacy voice actor Richard Horvitz is there to help direct the voice cast. I feel like Brandon is where a lot of the heart comes from because, listen, a lot of criticism leveled at this show is that it's just sex jokes, blood, gore, and swearing. Also, I am by no means saying that every detractor falls into this group. I think there are valid criticisms. I don't want a Last Jedi Ghostbusters situation on my hands. However, some people take issue with this show being very, very gay. And you know what? I'm gonna say it. I watched the entire show for this video, up to this point, up to this musical episode, the most recent episode. I've seen the entire thing. Did I find the show funny? No, I didn't. But I do think it looks gorgeous, the cast kills it, and there are songs in every episode. That's really all it takes for me.
What? This is the kind of shit gays like, right?
And I think it's got good heart. I don't find any of these characters particularly funny, but I truly do care about them. And I feel like that gives this show enough merit. They can fuck each other as much as they want as long as they also sing about it. I do feel like a lot of that does have to do with Brandon, and there are storylines present that I remember from his past projects, but Has-Been also had that. So really, I think it's the whole team. People think it's cringy because everything is cringy now. If Invader Zim came out today, you would hate it, and yet I get burned at the stake for saying I like Billy and Mandy more. I want to specify that line is Billy and Mandy Moore, M-O-R-E, and not Mandy Moore. You guys should know this. I talked about how much I love the found family trope when I talked about Community last time. You also know how I feel about blood and sex and gore in my rant previously. If you don't want to see it, that's totally fine. Every episode begins with a content warning, but I don't think it should be banned from YouTube. Speaking of warnings, this is, as of recording, the most recent episode of the show with a lot of character development, so spoilers. Obviously, skip to this point if you don't want to hear me talking about it. I didn't need to give this warning earlier because who cares about Batman the Brave and the Bold? I made it seem very chill earlier, but I'm actually really excited for this because not only has the show purposefully casted musically talented individuals, but even the characters you wouldn't expect sang the best songs in the series. Also, like, they had Kesha in an episode for real. They've added Tony Award winner James Monroe Eagleheart, who played the genie on Broadway from Aladdin. Alex Brightman, known best for his performance of Beetlejuice and Dewey Finn, and most known from me as the guy from the Goosebumps musical. I have exquisite tastes. They got fucking Barrett Wilbert Weed in this bitch, as in Veronica Sawyer, as in the only reason I watched the Mean Girls musical. God, I hope that doesn't have horrifying implications later. No thunder? I'm gonna rip the band-aid off right now. She's not in this episode. But you know who is?
Juggling. It's objectively cool. Our returning champ is nobody's fool. But what's this? The twins bring it up to the wire. Also, they're on fire.
We begin as a huge greedy clown graces a crowd of his adoring fans, voiced by Michael Cusack, of many shows. This episode carries over from the previous one, where Brightman's character Fizzarali and the big bad boss Blitz just made up after not being friends since they were kids. Which is what we see here. Them being kids, seeing Mammon in person. This is gonna be another Fizzarali episode, and while I do love me some Brightman, we just got this. I will say this. I understand being a musical fan who is given reins to a very popular show, and now you have access to such talented voices, especially if you bill the episode as a magnificent musical. I get that. I really do. But this is slowly starting to become not about IMP, the Demon Hitmen service the premise was built around. I know I joked that it takes after The Office, which is a show I don't really love, but I do love these main characters, and they haven't interacted in like 4 episodes. And it can't be a voice actor issue because Horvitz still voiced another character in the last episode. It's just that my favorite couple have gone AWOL, and I don't really know why. If you want to make a musical, it makes sense to stack the cast, but Moxie has proven to be a very musical character, having what I think is the best song in the show thus far. Granted, it also involved the Genie and Beetlejuice. We haven't even started the episode, but I have watched it, and let me tell you, we don't get our first official song for a while. So, the episode. Blitz and Fizz are seeing Mammon live in person while the Mammon himself is looking for a new talent to exploit. I know my most annoying talent is pinpointing voices, but I appreciate that Michael Cusack's life partner Psychic Pebbles makes multiple crowd mumbles.
How many of you worthless bitches want to be big clowns like me someday?
Blitz and Fizz walk home together, both having taken something away from that performance. Blitz learns that it's a giant scam, and only a truly desperate idiot will want to work for Mammon, and Fizz really wants to work for Mammon. But just then, the local clown Fizz has an uncomfortable encounter with a fan. So an encounter with a fan. They're not known for their subtlety. While the scene is uncomfortable, it's also a smart way to show the demon's dynamic in isolation. Blitz is there to be abrasive and honest because he doesn't care what strangers think, while Fizzarali refuses to stand up for himself. He will bend at the whim of people he seeks to please. But it's okay because Blitz is there to rock his shit. Good thing we won't see that freak ever again. But it's clear despite all of that Fizz wants to be the best while also constantly doubting his own clowning ability. We see this further as a cut to the future reveals he is fully sold out to Mammon's whim, to be whored out literally and figuratively. We get some more scenes with the musical stars, and they're fine. Couldn't help but notice a lack of main characters. Hey look, it's a main character! Fizz's big boyfriend commissions Blitz to bodyguard him at the big Mammon competition, but really he's there to convince him that it sucks and he doesn't have to listen to that green guy. But it doesn't matter because he doesn't really do much after this. Like, these two talented twins show up to threaten Fizzy's spot under Mammon, and Blitz exclaims that now he wants his friend to win, but he doesn't add much else. I get the feeling they wanted to make this episode about completely separate characters from the main ones, but had to squeeze one of them in here to appease people. It's nice to see their relationship re-blossom after they made up last episode, but it'd also be nice if they did anything. And again, this wouldn't be an issue if they just actually leaned into the musical. This episode has musical in the title. You have characters played by Broadway stars. We're almost halfway into this episode and nobody's even whistled yet. What makes it even more strange is that there are emotionally tense moments where the music gets louder and you think somebody is about to break into song, but nothing. Hey Fizzarali, I bet you have a lot of thoughts and insecurities going through your head right now.
Good point. Sing about it?
No!
Damn, not only is that our regular community clip per video, but it's from an episode I referenced at the previous ceremony. Wow. We do finally get our first number from this musical episode, and it's not very good. It's not even really a rap. Mammon just sings talk, which I could understand if Michael couldn't sing, but I'm one of the few people who watched Koala Man, alright? I've heard it. I'm adding this bit here in the middle, because I'm still mad. I went to the song just posted by itself on the channel. It's not even performed by Michael. They got a different guy to sing this song. Sorry, not even sing, to talk this song, kind of rap, maybe? That sounds like Michael. Why not just what are we doing? And then it ends in like 30 seconds.
From where I'm sitting, you can hear the crowd knocking the shit cause the twins are here. And they're here to win. Things are not looking good for Fizzaroli. And now we are down to our clowny finalists.
Fizz tries to relay his feelings to Mammon, not through song, by the way, but his surrogate father pressures him to keep trying and keep going. Blitz doesn't change anyone's mind on anything, he's just there to look pretty. And then immediately after, talking to his boss about how every Mammon act gets a sex toy made of them, a deaf demon child tells Fizz that he wants to grow up to be just like him, and Fizz is like, yeah, that's cool. I love being here. What? Also, what the fuck did that deaf kid do to go straight to hell immediately? Oh, actually, I forgot. All non-baptized babies go straight to hell no matter what. My mistake. Hey, it's that nerdy loser Stan from before. Actually, I've become quite attached to him. I sure hope he sticks around and doesn't die horribly. Fizzarali has the first ever realistic depiction of panic attacks in animation, as Blitz tries to help, but this isn't about him.
No.
You're not in this episode.
Well, Mammon appears to put the pressure on. He does the thing that most abusers do in threatening their underlings, but making it sound like they care. The Popstars twins are going on before him, so he better show them up, lest he be replaced. And their performance counts as a song. It's nice. Like, I'm not gonna look you in the eyes and say it isn't catchy, but in canon, it's a pop song performance and has no real standing on this plot. And also, I kind of don't like the lyrics.
I'm a clown, bitch. Except you're found, bitch.
Blitz tries to convince Fizz that he's being placed under too much pressure by Mammon, but this episode isn't about you! In the end, in a really emotional scene that would be perfect for any other episode, but I read the title, so I want it to be a song for some reason. Fizz verbalizes his innermost feelings and reveals his disfigured look hidden under his clown veneer to Ozzy. That's the big guy, the other one. But luckily there is a song that follows after, and it's actually not only good, but it marks a shift in both their characters.
So much you can't see.
What can't I see?
Oh, you're a broken record. Don't you ever shut your crooked little lips.
What do you want me to do with my lips?
Then Smelly Stan from before shows up and Blitz blows his brains out in a bad way. Alright, you both served your purposes. Time to leave the episode. Maybe a musical episode was referring to these last couple minutes because the episode goes halfway without a song and then backloads them all here. And you know what? Legitimately, this last song might make it all worth it. Maybe. I mean, I do like it.
I have wasted time. I have seen my use. I have packaged and sold every part of me, suffered a lifetime of abuse. I have lost myself. I have worshipped at your feet. And here I am standing on top of the world with some bitches to defeat. I played the game, I've won it all. They've screamed my name, they bought the doll. I've seized the day, now I've got one thing left to say. Hey, fuck you!
You kind of have to review these in a bubble, and although this didn't live up to the expectations, I still like the show. It just seems like I don't because I never needed to talk about the other episodes. Or episodes. In a bubble, it's fine to focus on the musically inclined members of the cast, and if you boil it down, it's a story of a disabled person standing up to his abusive boss, and in a way, coming out with his boyfriend. But outside of that bubble, we haven't even seen the hell of a boss be a boss in months. Where's my favorite married couple? Well, we gotta end this funny hell episode somehow.
So, who tops?
I feel bad. Not because of my thoughts. I never feel bad about genuine criticism of a show. And in the end, it's all for the love of the medium. I do feel a little bad about making fun of Hamster and Gretel. Local YouTuber bullies child, but I feel bad. It may be just the most vocal among them, but I do think people should give this show a shot. Just, you know, don't expect a good musical episode. It's not even a bad episode. At worst, it's what people call filler, but I hate that term because it's rarely used correctly. It's just fine. I guess being raunchy and edgy just turns people off now. Back in the day, you could sell a whole show on the back of pushing boundaries. If your show had swearing and poo-poo, you would get greenlit for 30 seasons. That gives me an idea.
Did somebody say demon?
That was like 20 minutes ago. How are you even doing this, and why?
We all must pay for our sins in our own ways.
What?
Go on without me!
Should I mean, he's fine, right? It's not like I actually care. He's just always been a huge dick to me, but it's Christmas. We need some Christmas to lighten the mood and end this ceremony out with a bang. I forgot what I was just saying, but I think it's something along the lines of the 90s were a different time. You losers ready for another history lesson? Christmas myths are constantly evolving. Sure, we have Rankin Bass characters like Frosty and Rudolph, and the more recent classic legends such as Fred Claus and Tim Allen. But the holiday season isn't just about Santa, or a guy in a bathrobe, or Star Wars, I guess. There's another institution, almost accidentally synonymous with Christmas. The Simpsons have a monopoly on Halloween, Family Guy is Star Wars again, maybe. But Christmas? The year is 1992. Life partners Matt Stone and Trey Parker release a short film titled either The Spirit of Christmas or Jesus vs. Frosty. It depends on who you ask. And this one little short film made in stop motion with paper cutouts starring these 4 boys would later on become an animated institution. For better or for worse. 1995, a sequel to the short film titled Jesus vs. Santa, or also The Spirit of Christmas, was commissioned, and the finished product is a little more fleshed out. Not to spoil the section we're currently in, but you can more clearly see the sprouts of a show in this film. The short film went viral, but not on the internet, rather through tape trading in the underground Hollywood scene, which eventually caught the attention of burgeoning channel Comedy Central, who themselves commissioned these 2 boys to make this viral short into a show. That show, of course, was Fairview, which consistently earns the highest ratings of any basic cable program. It's gone for 26 seasons and 326 episodes alongside video games, merchandising, and won multiple awards. I think I made a mistake. Oh, actually, all of that was South Park. The Yowie Show? I got into South Park like most in my edgy preteen ages, which coincided with its 18th season. Because of this, and because the show was continued for so long, I never really got to experience the era the show started in. Shows change a lot. Earlier I talked about 2 SpongeBob Christmas specials, but apparently they have since had more, and I just didn't know because, well, I don't really watch the show anymore. Same goes for a show like Family Guy that I loved as a kid and I talked about 2 years ago as a bad show. Now it seems that the animation community thinks the show has redeemed itself, when really it's just like okay at best. I respect their optimism. Early South Park is very different from what the show became, and a decent amount of early fans seem to think the show has fallen off. Others believe it doesn't get good until multiple seasons in. While I haven't seen a lot of early episodes, I did talk briefly about the movie last time because it's a musical and I have seen that. Wait a minute, Andrew, a South Park musical? Isn't this the show with swearing and gore, violence in movies, and sex on TV? Well, these 2 boys haven't been exclusively working with cardboard cutouts for decades. Between the 2 spirits of Christmases, they released Cannibal the Musical, which is exactly like it sounds, which became a cult classic in its own right. I have the option to talk about multiple musical episodes here today, but I've narrowed it down to 2, and then I narrowed those down to 1, the season 1 holiday episode and the season 3 holiday episode. It's not just the snow on the ground. South Park has literally been synonymous with Christmas since its inception on colored paper. While fans are torn on the validity of season 1 and 3, the general consensus, even among the creators of the show, is that season 1 was huge, then because of this they started development on the movie almost immediately after, which pushed season 2 down the priority totem pole, and it suffered for it. But then after production ended, season 3 brought everything right back up again. And this was early days. There's a world where South Park got so unpopular in season 2 that they canceled the show and canned the movie. The movie kind of saved the show, which is really funny considering it was basically designed to piss people off. Not in a Freddy got fingered way, but in a let's not tell anyone this is a musical and catch a bunch of people expecting a raunchy comedy off guard kind of way. Like Wonka, the movie Wonka, just without the... I don't know how raunchy this movie is yet, I haven't seen it. Hey guys, the final year appearance of Editor Andrew. This is being recorded legitimately right after I got out of the movie of seeing Wonka. The popcorn is still fresh right next to me. Talk about a life-changing experience. I'm probably going to talk about it more someday down the line, probably very soon, but the marketing, they shot this movie in the foot. I don't know who's behind this or who is responsible for not telling people this is a musical, but you guys gotta see that. I actually loved this movie. And then they lost Best Original Song to Phil Collins and made the Book of Mormon out of spite. The musical, not the book. There's a domino effect of Jesus versus Santa to Frozen. The season 1 episode aired in December 1997 and created a Christmas icon thrust into the lexicon of holly and jolly, Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. Season 2 had a Christmas episode, who cares? And then season's 3 episode, Mr. Hanky's Christmas Classics, aired December 1999, 6 months after the movie hit theaters. By this point on, South Park being a musical series was no longer a shock. I'm pretty sure they had the voice of Chef perform songs from the show live in concert concert. Actually, I know for a fact they did because there's footage of Vince McMahon dancing to it. But you guys don't want to hear about wrestling, do you? I do think season 3 has better songs, but it's not really a better episode. It's an anthology of disconnected Christmas songs, and while it does start with the classic Rankin Boss parody, and again, has many great songs, it's not really a musical episode. I will point out one specifically because the show doesn't just occasionally star Jesus and Santa and other religious figures you cannot show on television. A big reason why I love the movie so much, other than being a musical, is that it kind of stars my favorite South Park character, Satan, and he belts ironically to the heavens, and I listen to this song unironically all the time. Maybe that's why my expectations for Hell of a Boss were so high. And yet again, he gets the best song in the special.
There goes John F. Kennedy, caroling with his son, reunited for the holidays. God bless us, everyone.
Oh, cool, he made it into this video twice. I feel like I've given a ton of disconnected blurbs or history lessons this ceremony, and while I hope you learn something, we're running out of time here, so...
And I can't sing Christmas songs or decorate a Christmas tree or leave water out for Rudolph, 'cause there's something wrong with me. My people don't believe in Jesus Christ's divinity.
The students of South Park are attempting to put on a Christmas pageant around the nativity scene, but Kyle's mom shows up to get the whole thing shut down due to its offensive nature to the Jewish religion. In the later years, South Park became known for its commentary, but it's unlikely this is referencing any specific event. I think it's more likely this exact situation has happened to one of the show's creators, and they want to recreate that embarrassment, because you may not know this, but this show, it used to be about children. Mrs. Bravlovsky goes straight to the mayor as the kids get excited about the first snow of Christmas in their snowy mountain town. I don't mean to ruin your fun, guys, but there's always snow on the ground. Most of the kids go to catch snowflakes, but stop Kyle from participating because this is Christmas snow, and he celebrates Hanukkah.
Jewish people can't eat Christmas snow. We can too. No, I think it's against the law, dude. Officer Barbrady.
What?
Is it illegal for Jews to eat Christmas snow?
Yes?
Stan, Kenny, and Cartman start heading to the mall to sit on Santa's lap as Kyle tries to tell them the legend of Mr. Hanky again. They think he's losing it. And because these two boys actually get it, there's only one thing that could follow Kyle being alone with his emotions.
I'm a Jew, a lonely Jew. I'd be Mary, but I'm Hebrew on Christmas.
Afterwards, a classic South Park angry mob forms outside the mayor's office. Some citizens are offended by the combination of church and state, the only Jewish family is offended by the nativity as a whole, and the Christians are offended by the use of other Christmas characters over Jesus. Kyle, again, tries to solve everyone's problems by telling them about the non-denominational Christmas icon, Mr. Hanky, before being dragged away by his parents in shame.
Are there any other suggestions? Yes, Mr. Garrison.
Could we get rid of all the Mexicans?
It's incredible they kept this character trait over multiple seasons. Kyle's parents make him say there's no such thing as Mr. Hanky over and over before he heads off to the bathroom.
I'm not hearing that. Mr. Hanky?
I'm a little torn here, because the texture they used to show the feces Mr. Hanky spreads looks awful realistic. But on the other hand, it's fucking hard to look at, man. Ew.
Santa Claus is on his way, he's loaded goodies on his sleigh. Drop him off on Christmas Day, and I'll say howdy ho. Mr. Hanky, shh, I'll get in trouble. Folks will gather around the fire, sing a song from a choir. Pretty soon they'll all retire, and I'll say howdy ho.
When Kyle's father barges in, Mr. Hanky goes completely limp, making it seem like Kyle had a nervous breakdown and spread doo-doo poopy all over the walls. He's sent to bed, but when Mr. Hanky shows his face again, he doesn't seem that upset. They devise a plan to take him to school the next day to at least prove he's real to his friends, to which Mr. Hanky says he'll show them the true spirit of Christmas, which is a godsend because I'm not sure which one of these I'm supposed to call that. The townspeople take down all the Christmas decorations lest they offend someone in town.
Well, I sneaked around my mom's closet too and saw what I'm getting. The Ultra Vibe Pleasure 2000. What's that? I don't know, but it sounds pretty sweet.
Kyle shows up with the shoebox to finally reveal the true spirit of Christmas to his friends. But when they open it up, it's just a loose turd. They think their friend is going crazy. I knew a guy in grade school who did the same thing. Anyway, due to the protest of the town, Mr. Garrison is unsure on what to make the pageant about. And if you, by random chance, have seen the movie, but not this episode, so me?
Monday she's a bitch, on Tuesday she's a bitch, and Wednesday to Saturday she's a bitch. Then on Sunday, just to be different, she's a super king, Kamehameha, biatch.
Golly, that isn't very nice. I'd sure like to teach him a lesson.
This song's actually from this episode. Mr. Hankey keeps making Kyle look bad by tossing himself at Cartman's face and Mr. Mackey's suspiciously brown drink. There's a running bit that starts with Kenny being put in precarious situations where he is likely to die but doesn't. It happens multiple times, which makes it a runner, but it starts with like 7 minutes left in the episode. I feel like we're really stumbling over the finish line here. Kyle is admitted to an insane asylum.
Reason? I'm a clinically depressed fecal-philiac on Prozac.
Sorry, a mental health facility. He sits alone in a straitjacket singing the dreidel song by himself, while the pageant is experimental. But first, something that's lost in modern seasons.
You'll hear the herald angels sing when I'm sliding off your bra. I just can't wait to jingle your bells and fa-la-la your la.
I do miss him sometimes. The awful school show starts a classic South Park riot as the kids tell Chef about Kyle's plight before he tells them that he knows Mr. Hankey. If you don't know, in early seasons of South Park, Chef served as a teacher to these children and would often cause some of the conflicts accidentally by giving advice that was too vague. And don't get me wrong, I do like modern South Park on occasion. I don't think it's objectively bad, and I understand why they can't bring him back, but there's a Chef-shaped hole in my heart. But that hole was quickly filled by Butters, so really I could go either way. There's a live-action toy commercial parody where the kids make their own Mr. Hankey. Then the paper cutout Mr. Hankey finally greets the kids, and then Chef, and then the town. He gives a classic South Park speech about Frosty versus Santa. I mean the spirit of Christmas. Really what he says is that in the modern day, Christmas is more about Santa and snow and presents than it is any religion. And you know what? I agree. I despise big brands, but you're crazy if you think I'm not watching those damn or that M&M feigning commercial every year around this time. The townsfolk come to apologize to Kyle and let him out of the loony bin they placed him in, as they all sing the Mr. Hankey song together.
Mr. Hankey, the Christmas poo, he loves me, I love you, therefore vicariously he loves you, even if you're a Jew.
Sometimes he's nutty, sometimes he's corny, he can be brown or greenish brown.
The boys learned something today, and then Kenny almost dies tragically. This truly is a South Park Christmas, except without all the religious iconography. That part got cut short because I removed a long rant about religion. Oopsies! With that being said, I do find it fitting that I would begin this video with a Christmas episode, a Christmas musical episode of a show that will seemingly go on forever. And then I also end this video. No, that wasn't part of the deal. I was told I would be forgiven if I went through with my punishment, and I just did. I don't know who you're talking about. And even if I did, I wouldn't know where they were. You can't do this. Please. I've already had enough. How could it possibly get any worse? You don't think I can't hear what they've been doing back there? No, I can't. It was supposed to be a joke. It was never supposed to be an actual analysis. Not only does it break multiple rules, but I haven't even watched that one. Please.
Wow, how did I not notice this place didn't have a roof?
This is all very confusing and convoluted.
Well, it seems what's about to happen is out of my control. For years, I tried to avoid my destiny. I tried to run from it. But the storm has only gotten worse. I just want anyone who's watching this at home to know I never wanted this. After this moment, everything is going to change. Because now, I have to give out the award for covers of my favorite musical from my least favorite show. There's nothing we could do.
Who could survive this? I can't escape this. I think I'm dying. And you know, life can be beautiful.
What does a musical episode, the movie Heathers, Vanessa Morgan, and a really bad teen drama all have in common? Me. I guess. So I said earlier that for all of these episodes, I would watch their series up to this point, but I didn't do that for Riverdale because 1, I feel like I deserve to have boundaries, and 2, I don't think this episode has anything to do with anything anyway. Well, let's find out. Did I miss anything important?
Previously on Riverdale, I've been hearing rumors that you moved to town to take the drug trade from Hiram Law.
Groups like the Farm prey on emotionally vulnerable people.
Mitch was murdered during your production of Carrie.
I did not. The principal is mad that they chose Heathers for this year's school musical, especially after what happened at last year's musical, which is an incredibly funny thing to hear when I have no idea what's going on. White guy argues that the school needs the show now more than ever because it isn't just about murder, it's about rejection of nihilism, which... No, it isn't. Like, if you want to argue that JD's them versus us mentality is nihilism, then go ahead. You'd still be wrong, but I'm not going to stop you. So we immediately jump into really poor renditions set to what sounds like MIDI versions of these songs.
Then we got bigger, that was the trigger, like the Huns invading Rome. Welcome to my school, this ain't no high school, this is the Thunderdome.
It's a really bold decision to have your choreography be all these extras trying to discreetly smell this guy. I like that they cut away to some diner girl for the parts of the song that are about hating high school and wanting to burn it to the ground. It kind of hurts your point, bud. I hate to be that guy, but I feel like they didn't even understand the musical at all. And it's not even really that deep. Do you know how annoying it is to pretend I don't like American Psycho and Scott Pilgrim in public? Is media literacy truly dead? Speaking of poor understanding of the source material, Riverdale's Jughead. The most famous incarnation of the comic Jughead were of a guy who does not care for teenage drama or girls. He just wants to grill, goddammit. Put your pussy away. The only thing I want to eat is this delicious burger. He's so me. But this Zack and Cody Tumblr version, what if he fucked a woman? Ugh, you ruined it. Oh man, this song is still happening? When are they gonna sing the part about tying Heather up and leaving her for the rats?
Wow.
Why don't I fight back?
Why do I act like such a creep? Why won't she date me? Why did I hit him?
Why did I hit him?
She was a real mess after her breakup with Tony, but then she gave herself the role of HBIC. Veronica and Betty are playing the other Heathers, Heather McNamara and Heather Duke, but Cheryl is the mythic bitch.
Okay, so Veronica is playing Heather, and then Veronica is played by Veronica is playing, I think they're in character. Like, they're not actually the Heathers. They're just all really dedicated, maybe. This is an interesting new musical episode interpretation where it's both diegetic and not. Like, they're performing the show in canon, but it just so happens to break into... Was that a vampire? At least they did their proper research because there's only like 12 people in this cast and they're all pissed at each other. Wait a minute, was this blue shirt guy we were following the whole time not Archie? Was I wrong this entire time?
Hi, I'm Sweet Pea, playing JD, Veronica Sawyer's bad boy love interest.
Well, this guy definitely hasn't seen it. Apparently, Archie is playing one of the jocks, which makes sense because of the epic highs and lows of football. And the choreographer of the show is... She's even got the fucking leather jacket. If you don't know anything about this show, but you do know a lot about me, this was just an insane reveal. After the title card, we got all the theater kids lying on the back room carpet together, and I had a Ratatouille moment and then threw up. See, I told you I would reference that scene twice. Well, maybe some normal dialogue will help us understand what's going on here.
Come on, Cheryl. I'm trying to be professional here. Can you not? Are we gonna have a problem?
Forget I said anything.
If you lack the juice, go play duck, duck, goose. Let your mommy fix you ice cream.
Why even do Heathers, man?
Oh, whoa. Honey, what you waiting for? Welcome to my candy store. You just gotta prove you're not a doorknob anymore.
I'll allow it. She can do whatever she wants for the rest of forever. I'm sorry, this is just so surreal to me. My favorite vampire girl, well, second third favorite, never mind, was singing Candy Store on the CW and nobody thought to tell me? Maybe I shouldn't have avoided this one. I don't want to keep just playing clips, but Vampire's hair makes a whipping sound effect.
Or you can bitch and moan.
And I feel like you wouldn't believe me if I didn't just show you. Apparently a cult called The Farm has sponsored the play and are trying to recruit at-risk youths. So yes, a school musical is the correct place to go.
The Farm is producing, and I'm co-directing the musical for one simple reason. To have big fun.
Yo, girl, I just really feel like a dead girl walking and the cult is looking to freeze your brain. What is happening? Zach and or Cody checks in with the local deputy or something about a murder, maybe? Well, Veronica, the real Veronica, not the character Veronica. You see how confusing this is? Her parents tell her that they're getting separated.
He knows Veronica.
Knows what?
The truth. He knows I sold the drugs out from under him while he was in the hospital.
When's the rest of the vampire team gonna show up? The at-risk kids drink suspiciously blue drinks and then perform big fun, but it's like the Kids Bop version. There's this ancient theater urban legend that there was a high school out there somewhere that wanted to put on a performance of the musical Rent, but instead of AIDS, they made it about pink eye to make it appropriate. Why even pick Rent? You know you didn't have to do Heathers, right? We all joke about the demon show that just swears all the time, but know that the alternative is not much better. This show is about murder and cults. You're not allowed to talk about smoking weed. Why is this show about cults? I always assumed the show got crazier and crazier as it barreled towards the end, but this episode is from season 3. I don't think there's anything that could have cheered me up right now.
Dang, dang, diggity, dang, 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 diggity, dang, dang.
It sounds like I'm crushing hard, but honestly, it's just like seeing the Alvin and the Chipmunks guy on Tim and Eric. Like, what are you doing here? You're not a real guy. I didn't even notice this until I was editing, so I need to put this part in here. The hot tub they're referring to is just like a full-length, like, bathtub with 2 people in it, like ass to ass, foot to foot style. This episode would have suited the last ceremony way better because we have more drug-induced hallucination.
So, last night was big fun.
Would you give it a rest? I feel like this is my punishment for complaining about episodes not having enough songs, because this is simply just karaoke. Nothing else happens. Like, I know I'm the asshole for watching an episode in the middle of season 3, but I feel like this isn't even for people who like this show. I promise you I will not regret my words like I did with Buffy, because I've actually watched Buffy now. I ain't watching this. Speaking of vampires, they all share secrets with each other to strengthen the bond of the cast. So are they gonna, like, rehearse at any point? So the girl playing Heather starts to act more like her, like it's a curse or something, but no one around her acknowledges it. It's really weird. She yells at My Immortal to change because red is supposed to be her signature color. The color of blood. Bleh. I would hate being an actor and a bunch of nerds who only knew me from one thing. That being said, actress who I only know from a show I was obsessed with as a kid, who's not in much else, singing a song from my favorite musical in fucking Riverdale. Talk about a carrot on a stick. As much as I'd love to hear her singing, it's unfortunately interrupted by swooshing sound effects every time she moves.
So the world's unfair, keep it locked out there. In here it's beautiful.
For me.
Stop!
And a record is this a prank? How did they know I would have to watch this? By the way, she's singing a song about getting fucked hard style, which is fine if you don't want to do that. But again, then why pick this show? But the other dudes do take their clothes off. She blue-balled them. Oh, like the musical Heathers! Meanwhile, the flannel gang goes down to the sewers to hunt down drugs or a cult or something. I'm not purposefully leaving out context, I'm just confused. They perform Our Love Is God in a cult meeting, and Ponytail captures a picture of it for blackmail, probably. I wouldn't be caught dead wearing a skin-tight white shirt. I get it, because their love is literally God. Like, God isn't... This is stupid, I think, actually. I realized halfway through saying that sentence that this is stupid. It's weird that it's a jukebox musical, but for songs exclusively from one already existing musical. Archie's slapboxing in front of the hose and then tells his new girl that they should fight for this. And if you know Heathers, like I imagine you're supposed to, all you can muster up is an annoyed groan. It's a shame that she actually does a really good job.
I would fight for you if you would fight for me.
it. Ponytail tosses the incriminating pictures of SpongeBob at the Christmas party on the principal's desk. And for someone who previously wanted the show shut down, they don't do a whole lot about it. Whichever teen is playing Heather Chandler is now sleeping in a giant Heather-esque bed. It's seeping into their world like a virus. Soon there'll be two Heathers to understand it was a parody. Zack and Cody finds Heisenberg's drug den and then calls his snooping camera friend, or girlfriend, to come look at it with him. Good first date idea.
When did our lives go from worrying about who's gonna sit next to us on the bus to drug lord mothers?
And serial killer fathers. And unstoppable cults.
What sounds silly when you say it like that. So obviously they sing 17, a song from the hit musical Heathers.
We'll go camping,
Play some poker.
and we'll eat some chili fries.
Now this is the Jughead I like. Vanessa Morgan is having kind of an Ariana Grande on Victorious moment here, where you can clearly hear her over everyone else singing, just blatantly flexing. But I feel like she's earned it. I mean, her last show got canceled. The snooping couple goes to the classic teenage diner that all teenagers go to. This is such a tired cliche that it's a crucial location in Clone High, the pinnacle of making fun of dumb teen dramas.
Come back home, Daddy. So what if Mom tried to get rid of your drugs?
Those were prescription! Veronica. Riverdale Veronica. Not... you get it. She gets the crushing loneliness and despair she feels from her parents' divorce and channels it into her rendition of Lifeboat, and then invites both of them to the show to share one final good memory together. I'm sure this song will really change their mood.
Hugging my knees and the captain is pointing. I thought I was captain. Still, the weakest must go.
The Scooby Gang gets ready to host a drug bust before their cop friend barges in with scratches all over him.
Tweaked out Fizzlehead was playing G&G in the middle of the damn road. Now, the candy store is definitely back open.
Ooh, Candy Store? That's the title of another song. Hit it, Joe! The girlies kiss and then the nosy couple shows up covered in soot. They're not gonna blow up the school. They wouldn't do that. Would they?
Get to makeup, stat.
Okay.
And Betty, make sure he knows his line and choreography for the finale.
Make sure the show is happening now, man. I think it's a little late. Did these two show up to any rehearsals? She wasn't at the weird cult wedding thing. Oh, they just blew up the trailer with all the drugs. And then Jughead kisses a woman. I hate it here. Wait, why didn't they just move the... Isn't there a musical happening?
I can't promise no more Heathers.
I really wish you could. Riverdale, more like River Stale. More like really stale. More like rarely good. You didn't want to show us any of this show? Like how the crowd is reacting very somberly to these kids stripping their Heather clothes? Like, this is 17 and I'm very deep. The record scratch was one thing, but did you have to add that many stomping noises? Is this a mistake? How could it be? You accidentally recorded them No, you added this in post. Why did you do that? And then, and I am not kidding you, there is no applause, and then one guy stands up and starts slow clapping, and then the rest of the crowd also slowly stands up and starts clapping, all at the same droning volume. And it's heavily implied all these people have been taken over by the Heathers adjacent cult. And then we cut to the credits. Be sure to watch the next episode of Riverdale to find out if the show gets even crazier. No, that's enough. No more. Do you know how many musical episodes there are? Not many. It's been years and years, but I finally talked about all of them. There are no more. I didn't miss a single one. Scrubs has too many seasons. All right, ranking time. I couldn't decide if I wanted to add all of these to the original list or make it completely separate, so I've elected to do both. But before I make another list to combine, I'd like to revise this one. First of all, I don't think I placed Buffy at all last time, so I think it should go here, above Big City Greens. I love that episode, but I've listened to the songs from Buffy way more since then. I'm also gonna slot the Mr. Meaty musical I talked about earlier this year. What a crazy year. Above Clone High. Speaking of which, it's not actually at the bottom, but could you imagine? I talked about Mario and Riverdale for funny ha-has, but they don't actually meet my musical episode requirements, which means that number 11 on the best musical episode circa 2023 is Hell of a Boss, Mammon's magnificent musical mid-season special. I really wanted to rank the show higher because I do think a lot of the hate it gets is undeserved. On one hand, maybe I need to review these episodes in a bubble. On the other hand, I watched the whole series for this video. Not only do I know know they can do better, but I know they've been focusing too much on secondary characters. Number 10, Batman the Brave and the Bold, Mayhem of the Music Meister. It has a couple good songs and I like it for the novelty alone, but the rest of them fall flat. And it doesn't help that all the bits in between are stagnant action set pieces and very little motivation. Similarly, number 9, The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, Low Tidings. This episode is really good and really funny, and if this was a list of best episodes, it would be much higher. It's just that none of the songs ever get past the minute mark and refuse to gain any momentum. I know it wasn't billed as a musical episode, but it still could have made it. Number 8, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Magical Mystery Cure is a worse episode, but technically a better musical. All the songs are the high notes of the episode, well, some of them, whereas as a whole, it's just kind of okay. I know the show can do much better. Also, maybe I'd be more upset about the whole Alicorn thing if I watched even more of the show, but where I am right now, it hardly seems important. I hate to put it this low because it did actually embrace the music cliches later on, but number 7 is Daria the musical. I like all the characters and I like all the songs, but the list gets very contentious later. I promise this is not a bad episode, it just back-weighted and it's not as good as the others. I know Daria isn't one of those shows, but comedy goes a long way. Also, it took a little while for the main character to actually do the whole musical thing. The only interesting character development we get is at the end, but even then it gets reverted back to the status quo anyway. Not this show's best. Number 6, South Park, Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. I know it's a classic, I know it's a tradition, I know damn well it had good music, but production-wise it wasn't anything special, and the episode as a whole is totally okay. It's not like I actively found it unfunny, it's just that it wasn't super interested in telling jokes, and the ones it did want to tell were either started too late or wore thin very quickly. Number 5, Clone High's Some Talking But Mostly Songs. There it is. This is a strange one, because I didn't actually love any of the musical numbers in this one as much as I loved the general Clone High shenanigans. I know it's not a classic like Mr. Hanky, but it squeaks by being a good episode that just so happens to have decent musical numbers. The reason I put SpongeBob SquarePants It's a SpongeBob Christmas at number 4 is because I like how it looks, full stop. Last year I gave Family Guy some props for delivering a good Christmas episode in a lousy season, and SpongeBob is no different. But what makes this good episode even better is the music and attention to detail. Does it have the best script? No, but it certainly has the best production. Well, second best. Maybe third. Number 3 is Scott the Woz Borderline Forever. Is it barely a musical? Does it go all over the place? Does it basically break all the rules I set in place? Does it even do more in terms of production than SpongeBob? Well, you have to think about it comparatively. Sure, it isn't a full stop motion special, but what it is practically an indie film with set design and special effects all done on the budget of a gaming YouTuber. So, at no budget at all. Am I biased? Yes. Does this ruin the sanctity of the musical episode awards? Yes. Do I care? Yes. It's also the one that made me laugh the most. Well, second most. Second place goes to Craig of the Creek in the Key of the Creek because despite looking like any other episode of the show, it actually does have better attention to detail. It's just hidden under the hood within the music. Each environment of the creek not only having its own song, but using their own instruments. Every main character utilizing a different style of music, and all of it ending as an elaborate Grease reference. The show rocks. I actually think it just ended, so good timing. And of course, number 1. I have ranked episodes by how good their songs are, how funny they are, and how much I respect their production with how much work was put in. Will people still get mad about a nearly arbitrarily numbered list? Of course they will. Also, I'm biased towards YouTubers and puppeteers, so. The best modern musical TV episode as of 2023 is Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared's Death. It's funny, it's charming, it's gorgeous, it's deep, it's musical, it's creative. It's a damn shame a lot of people straight up do not know the show exists, because in such short time, it has become one of my favorites. Alright, there you go. I did everything. I sat in a dungeon for months before I was ready for my punishment. I stood up here like a rube. I presented multiple awards. You know, I've actually endured a lot of torture for months upon years. I don't even know who that guy was, and I certainly... A trade? For what? What esoteric dialogue? You just wanted me to combine the wreck? You're a dick. Hell of a Boss and Flapjack above Mr. Meaty, MLP above Powerpuff, Daria Beneath Phineas and Ferb, South Park and Clone High above American Dad, SpongeBob above Big City Greens, Scott above Buffy, Craig above Community, and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Oh, fuck. Well, this is quite the pickle. It goes above Adventure Time in my arbitrary list. Let's finish this. What trade? I didn't make a trade. I don't even have anything around here that I value. What a year. I know I say this a lot, and I know it's customary in the end of the year video, but I'm not just here to celebrate and acknowledge the last year. Although I did make a sick recap edit.
Dancing, walking, rearranging furniture. Babs is shopping. I let the bird out of the cage.
The ceremony is meant to cover the last 2 years, not just of animation and other adjacent media, but of my life. I used to not know how long I've been down here. I used to think I was wasting away alone. But what I learned this year is that I'm not the only one here. I am no longer alone. I made collabs, I made acquaintances, I made friends. Real friends, not annoying plastic ones. I know I already said it, but it's insane to me that I talked about always wanting to be in the animation community on YouTube in that Nickelodeon video back in March. And I've met so many wonderful people since. It finally feels like I belong somewhere. I never thought anything I made would mean anything to anyone. But here we are. And now that I know I'm not alone, I have to learn to appreciate what I do have. Okay, seriously, man? What's going on? What happened?
You came?
Of course I did, dude. We're friends, right?
Friends?
Yeah, I mean, I never really paid attention to anything you said or even had a decent conversation, but beggars can't be choosers.
I suppose that's nice, but it's a little late for that.
What do you mean, a little late?
I think this is it.
No, don't say that.
It's not that bad. Skeletons were never supposed to live this long without flesh anyway.
Well, then we can go get you some flesh.
You really don't understand how things work down here, do you?
No, that's not fair. Just when I was coming around to you, I have to go tell the others.
There are no others.
What?
There are no others anymore. They're all gone.
No.
You think you were the only one punished for harboring a wanted criminal?
But that was my fault. I should be the one.
They need you to keep this place running. I'm afraid we're expendable.
Not to me. Not to me.
Listen, kid. We were supposed to be here to protect you, to shield you from the things you could not comprehend.
It's my fault. I never should have let him on board.
Look at me.
This isn't right.
In the end, I'm glad I got to talk to you on my own terms, with no strings attached.
But I can't do this without you. What am I supposed to do?
That's not true. You always had it in you. You never needed talking sentient props to get by. All you need is you.
I can't believe I wasted so much time hating you. And then I finally realized what I have. And it's taken away from me.
Don't blame them. They were just trying to run a tight ship.
But who is they? Why did it have to be me? Why couldn't they trap anyone else? And I'm supposed to not blame them? They took my life from me. If I ever find out who did this...
Andrew, it sounds like you're planning an escape. And while I can't condone that behavior, I do have one request.
Anything.
If you ever make it out of here, I'd like to see the outside world one last time for the first time.
What?
And never forget to hit that bell.
I will. I promise. Tune in next year for more hilarious shenanigans and an all-new cast of kooky characters. Next time on... Oh, fuck.